I'm definitely not judging him by the color of his stuff. Come on.
Are we recording?
Apparently.
I don't think so. Wait,
Nah,
we are?
don't worry about
it.
Dennis, turn that off.
That would have been a really good intro, Dennis. What the fuck?
It is an intro. There you go.
You failure.
Shit.
Cold open.
Damn it. I was going to play Erica for the cold open.
Well, then
No,
no,
Ezra.
Suck it, Ezra. You
Go
Nazi.
touch grass.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow. We're starting early, I see.
Don, do you see what I have to deal with here?
Hey, Don,
Yes.
did you see the Corsair episode?
No, I am shamefully several episodes behind.
Very well.
Shame.
The first 10 minutes of the Corsair episode is a wild ride for Ezra. And it's Reich.
It really is.
Every
It
episode
really
is a wild ride
Big
for
drink
Ezra.
cup.
Yeah. That's
See,
fair.
It's the entire reason. It's the entire reason we're here tonight.
Yeah.
See, Don,
This
you
is
don't need to
true.
worry-
This is true.
Don, you don't need to worry too much about being behind because there was a time when I was literally 3 episodes behind on editing.
It's the only thing we're not paying you for.
Yeah, there was one point I looked at and went, shit, so we've just recorded episode 17 and fuck, I haven't even finished episode 15 yet.
We need
We're up to 17.
Yeah,
Damn.
this is episode 18.
Jesus.
Wow.
We need a Patreon exclusively for Callum.
Yeah.
We got Colin tied up in our collective basement just editing 24/7.
Pretty much.
What's a traditionally New Zealand food?
Um,
Illegal out there.
what is a traditional New Zealand food? We don't really
Kiwis.
have one.
Tossing down kiwis every once in a while. Keep working.
Just hose them down with liquor.
I mean, that will do me fine. Yeah.
Here, let's see what the internet says.
All right.
Traditional.
Alrighty, well, with that out of the way, we're
Zealand.
listening to the Micro Machines podcast, and today we are doing a kind of a special episode: the Sturmgeschütz versus the Archer. Which one is the better vehicle?
The Archer.
And we are also
Stug.
joined by a very shut up.
See, this is such a pointless episode. We already know the Stug is going to win.
Shut up.
You will have your
Let
time,
me get
boy.
to the intro, damn it.
No, because Dennis is biased.
And we are joined by a very special guest. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi guys.
Howdy,
Hi,
howdy.
special guest.
Hi.
Hello,
Introduce
special-
yourself.
Dennis.
Hi.
Oh, go ahead, special guest. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Hi guys. This is John from the Panzer Podcast. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. This will be the only time you will.
You'll live to regret this soon enough.
Alrighty,
Well, I
well,
know Don already does.
Yep.
I guess we should. Oh yeah, we've also got Don. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hi,
And
boys.
Kovacs.
And Kovacs.
Yeah.
And Kovacs. Yeah.
Good one. We
Yeah.
got a full house on this one.
We
Yeah, we do.
absolutely do.
We're only
Plenty
missing
of-
the ghost.
Well,
Plenty
I
of
guess we
dog shit opinions to go around.
We should probably go through our full introductions then. I guess we'll just go down to the list in descending order. I'm Dennis. I am recording from Ontario and currently getting struck by lightning.
Wait, there's a list?
Yeah, well, on Zencaster.
Okay, well you're second for me.
Oh crap! Oh whatever. Go
Yeah, I was first, but okay.
You-
So
You're all first on your own screens, boys. That's how that
Yeah,
works.
you goobers.
Damn
Jesus
it.
fuck.
all right, fuck it, I'll go. So I'm Callum, down in New Zealand, and yeah, cool.
I'm Jack. I am also in Ontario, and I'm about to get cleared by the same store hitting Dennis. Go.
I am Ezra in New Mexico, sweating.
Sweating.
I'm Greg in SoCal drinking coffee because we discuss our fucking drinks on this podcast. I don't know why we can't get this through our fucking heads.
I'm Don. I'm broadcasting from an undisclosed location, and any resemblance to the clapped-out camper in Ezra's driveway is purely coincidence.
Canada.
Don,
Canadian
you were
Breaking
also in the
Bad.
Same camper.
What?
Yeah, we're in the same camper, dude. Look behind you.
Oh, hey! Where the creepy breathing was coming from.
Yo, what's going
And,
on up there?
Yeah, Dawn, how does it feel not to have a gun to your head this episode? Being forced to come on.
No, the gun was more comfortable because the knife in my pack is sharp.
Who's left to introduce themselves? I know Kovac needs to.
Yeah, I'm Kovacs. I am from the lovely flat state of Iowa. Wouldn't recommend it. And I am drinking vanilla Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. So
Holy shit! The first
Vanilla
episode he's
Coca-Cola.
on, and he gets it right. That's crazy.
I had a great teacher. So
There you go.
Ezra?
Oh, I went already.
Yeah.
Did you?
I think that's.
Shit.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
All right,
you didn't.
moving well along. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we
So-
discussed how I was sweaty.
Right. Right. How
Gonna
could
be
I
sweating this
forget?
episode?
I'm not ready for this episode.
I don't think anyone here has actually done any research, so we're just gonna probably devolve into a. Just gonna be showing age.
I have some notes.
Well,
Yeah, I've got-
before,
I've got
Some,
Wikipedia
I have
pulled
some
up here.
notes.
before we actually get into the actual discussion, we should let these sides be known: who's Archer, who's Stug, and who's neither.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Well, I
Right.
guess since Stug is going first, Team Stug, why don't you introduce yourselves?
As we go.
I am the leader. I am the leader, or the
So,
commandant, as you could say.
The Fuhrer.
I command the powerful Team Stug, and with me is, well, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Doesn't even know his own subordinates. Jesus.
No.
As in classic German fashion.
Fucking officer.
Yeah, I'm Jack. I guess I'm the driver because we could do it that way. We could all have
Perfect.
our positions in the tanks. Yeah. Fucking, I don't know. I'm on Team Stug. And
Woohoo.
who else?
Kovacs is also on there. I call loader. It's the least important position. Well, it's not most important if you think about it, but
Yeah.
Comfortable position. as
it's yet true, most comfortable.
Not in an American tank, because you gotta smell that spicy air.
We're not in an American tank now, are we?
No, we're in a superior German tank.
You're not even in
Yeah,
a tank.
shut up.
Technically, it's a tank destroyer. Okay.
Technically, it's an assault gun.
I was
But we'll get
supposed
into
to say
that.
Okay. No one asked you, Ezra.
And Val would have been joining us.
Yes.
Damn, you guys
Ghosted
aren't even into
podcast.
the episode yet, and you've already taken a casualty.
Typical German fashion. Quite literally, the German is a casualty.
No. He's just
Poor Val.
no. Val is the transmission of the Stug. Just never showed up.
Okay, that's not fair. You can't pick on the transmission right away. That's not fair.
Oh boy.
Why are you bringing up old shit already?
Yeah, John, if this doesn't tell you enough about the podcast, I don't know what will.
Well, and so let me just preface this by apologizing. This is my first live podcast. So I usually do everything very scripted because it's just myself talking to me. So if I am not participating the right way, I apologize. However,
Don't worry,
I think-
John. It's going to be a lot of you talking to yourself anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Well, eventually, yeah.
So I suppose,
Why did I do that?
I suppose this leaves the gunner spot open, which is grand. That's just where I want to be, pulling the trigger on this thing.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's a beautiful tank destroyer to pull the trigger on.
It's assault gun.
God,
You just
It's a
corrected them.
multitasker.
It's a concrete box on fucking tracks.
It's
Oh, we'll
tinnitus
get to
in a
that.
box.
Yeah, we will get to that. Don't you worry.
Alrighty,
All right,
I
Team
guess
Archer,
I'm,
list yourselves.
See,
Silver
there's no
Patty,
one on
let's
Team
go.
Archer.
Yeah,
because there were what 60
because
of
they're
them?
all knocked out.
Yeah. They got destroyed by the glorious Stug.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
haven't made it to the
You're gonna
front
take
lines
that?
yet.
Still being built in Britain.
Dennis, where are you at here? You're clearly the commander.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got the homeboys for Team Archer. You got me, the commander.
You've got me. I'm going to pick the driver.
Let's go, Callum.
You got me, and I'm going to shotgun gunner.
We don't need a loader. Don't worry about
I
it.
can multitask.
Yeah. I'll get Callum to
Don't
go out of the
need a
driver's
loader.
seat and start loading.
Shit, is there really no? No, we need Where'd Greg go?
Greg is
Well,
Sweden.
Greg is Sweden. He's secretly with us.
I'm neutral in this conflict.
Oh yes, right. Selling iron ore under the guise of neutrality. That's right.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of heavy water? Well, let me tell you. Yes, I will
Greg's
make
our
my
salesman.
decision. I'll make my decision at the end of the podcast from the information you guys provide.
So Greg's the mediator.
Yeah, he's the judge.
Oh, you don't want that?
Greg, about that $5 I e-transferred you, that has nothing to do with it, okay?
Whoa, Dennis.
Wait, Dennis, I think you transferred me $50.
Shh.
Well, yeah, that's $5 American.
Well then, shall we get into it?
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah, let's go.
Team Stug.
Yeah, I guess so.
Jesus.
The winning team.
What the hell
Okay.
is this, Ezra?
Oh my
Is he
god.
wearing the cap like Eminem?
Oh, yeah,
An M&P decal on the side.
We've gone over that New Mexicans are obsessed with Eminem because we're behind like 5 years, so it makes
God.
sense.
Also,
You
I
have the
love that
aardvark.
I love that you've already shown your vehicle getting smoked by an airstrike.
Yeah.
Typical
No,
Stug
that's
fashion.
No, that's the proverbial. No, that's the archer off in the distance. It's the archer off in
Why
the
would an
distance getting
aardvark
carpet
be
bombs.
smoking
Don't
an
worry.
archer?
Just before he starts, we can get in on the Ezra bullying real quick. Just have a look at what he posted in podcast planning.
Oh no.
Oh god.
That's
Oh
all
God, what?
What?
Ezra, what the
Ezra,
fuck?
What?
Ezra, you're really making me side with you.
I don't know what I hate more about it. Is it wereaboo or are you just like an anime boo? Like I don't know
He's
which I
horny,
hate
That's
more.
all it is.
He's both.
Hang on, I'm gonna-
he's,
Don't worry about it.
Checking
I'm gonna
both
worry
ways.
about
He
it.
swings both ways.
I'm going to add the best fucking reaction. There you go.
Oh yeah.
And remember, if you want to join the Discord server, so you can see this debauchery. The link will be in the description.
Actually, technically, no. This is the correct reaction for it.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Oh my god.
Oh God, no.
Oh, Jack, look at the kind of sweaty wereaboo you're sitting here with.
Oh yeah, he's sweaty already.
Okay,
right
no.
beside you.
Oh, I'm extremely sweaty. I'm moist.
Just watch out for any seat you sit on in that Stug.
Hey Dennis, the thing is, he's passionate.
Oh, I'm
Yo,
He knows
yeah.
what he likes.
Ezra's passionate
Yeah,
with
I
the
mean-
Stug.
I mean, I can get one of those Stugs for 82,000 Reichsmarks, so it's cheap.
Where are you getting 82,000 Reichsmarks?
Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about it. Yeah, it's my money laundering scheme.
Oh, New Mexico things.
Old Nazi currency.
It was a birthday gift.
Give it a
You
few
get
years, it'll
what
be
you pay
accepted
for.
here in the States.
I also
Yes.
want to point out Val in his cartoony grave.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
And
God,
you can
what
notice
everyone
Silence
Mr. Hobby's juices sitting on top of the
Is it-
Stug,
what?
waiting for me to drink.
Greg, if you choose these chuckleheads at the end of the podcast, I'm going to be mightily disappointed.
Ezra, you're making it hard for me to choose you already, man.
See,
That's
but look, at
That's
least
why he's
I
got
put,
me. I
I
bring it
put
up.
effort. I put effort into these slides.
You threw a
Unfortunately,
picture of a jet with some fucking bombs, a backwards hat, the M&P logo, a grave for Val, and a bottle of juice.
Juice.
I thought that was just some
Yeah,
like
but-
cheap ephedrine. I thought that was for like a. Never mind.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know,
Lord,
but
Ezra
look,
Freshener.
We
But
party
look,
very
Dennis-
differently.
but Dennis has an archer smoking a joint.
That's cool!
Yeah. What
Bro,
are you,
pass
a
the
player
joint,
hater?
give me the LSD,
Yeah.
let's fucking hit, let's do this thing.
He's trying to get the red panda high.
Oh God.
He's
We're
already
doing
high
an
on life.
MMP
Well, it's
trip.
Amsterdam. Why wouldn't you? When
Oh,
in
that's a
Rome.
good point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
Ezra
You
needs
guys
truck
present your
nuts.
case.
Okay.
Okay, the Hetzer's inbred cousin. Who's making these slides?
Ezra.
yes.
Okay, so in my defense,
I'm a fan of that quote.
I didn't, as much as I'd love to take credit for it, I didn't come up with the Hetzer's inbred cousin joke. That was Val.
No, that was me.
Oh, well,
You're
it was Jack.
confusing the two long-haired blonde members of our podcast, dude.
I'm getting blonde. Don't worry. I'm progressively bleaching my hair. I'm gonna
That's
become
good.
Aryan.
That's good. Love to see it.
Oh heavens!
All right, let's get into this. Let's crack open the thick Stug.
Juices.
Okay.
You are down horrendous.
So this slide is just me explaining that the Stug was based off of an already really successful tank, the Panzer III. So, it's gonna be good, no matter what.
What can go wrong?
Exactly.
Cursed.
The Panzer III was a perfect tank. I'd say...
PTRD.
Listen, the Panzer III might be better than the Sherman.
Shut your mouth.
The Panzer III was better against like the R-35. Sure.
I think we've got a round 2 right now.
Well,
I'll fight that one. I'll fight that one.
So I'd like to say though, with regards to the Panzer III, regardless of how successful you may or may not believe it is, the early Stugs, when Manstein first was talking about wanting to do a Stug based off the Panzer III chassis, there was a lot of pushback on that. The armored forces really didn't want to give up any of their tank chassis for anything other than tanks. They weren't really hot on the idea of some sort of assault artillery.
right,
And
which
John,
makes
what
sense.
John, what was the motivation behind that, if you don't mind me asking? Was it like they looked down upon the idea of using more of an artillery-esque type of vehicle, or was like, well, it was just that they wanted more tanks?
This sounds passive aggressive.
No, well, and you know what? Honestly, I think a lot of the German high command, I think saying passive aggressive is a good way to describe it, because you had, because you had like those inter-service rivalries, and really like von Manstein, it wasn't so much that he wanted to take away from the tanks. He just saw armored combat as like more than just combined arms. He figured that the infantry needs to have a certain amount of support. So he wanted Stug batteries within the infantry arm to help support the armored arm after the armor kind of like, punched through the line. He assumed the infantry would still need some sort of armor to back them up.
He wanted more of integrated arms rather than combined arms.
Correct. Yes. He wanted an infantry purposed armored vehicle rather than an armored vehicle that supports infantry.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of wish our command would take a look at that.
Oh my god, it's going to be a bunch of guys in Okinawa rolling around in Stugs.
The U.S. Army is looking into the newest light tank. That's kind of what they're thinking, is they're going to give it to the infantry units and have them be integrated support. It's only got a 105, but it's mainly for like taking out bunkers and other hard objects.
We have
will say-
AAVs and LAVs. That's it.
That new light tank, I will say, it looks disgusting.
It looks horrendous, but I think
Yeah,
it will
it's-
get the job done.
It's a strike
Yeah.
from Wish.
It looks like someone tried to design an Abrams from someone describing an Abrams badly.
Yeah, and like having
Yeah.
it go like with like 40 tons instead of 70 tons. They're
And
just
then
like,
also
we
mix-
should squish it.
And
It's
then
like
mixed
they're
in with
working with the
Americans.
scale of the Scorpion, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a Scorpion-sized Abrams.
If the Scorpion, the Abrams, and the Striker all had a threesome, that would be their bastard child.
It's designed by some
Wow.
Syrian guy who saw an Abrams once.
Oh, is the 105 the one off the MGS?
I do not know.
I think
God.
it is.
Google!
Well,
Google intermission.
I will say about the Stug, if Michael Whitman started his extremely
crying out
successful
loud.
career,
Stop that.
Not
he
again.
started his
Not again.
extremely successful tank destroying career in a Stug 3. So
and then
something must
ended
be
his
right.
extremely successful tank destroying career by getting domed by a 17-pounder. So
Yeah, some
Get
Canadian
clapped on.
shoemaker, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but he wasn't in a Stug when it happened, so therefore the Stug is not responsible for his death.
No, his inferior tank tactics.
He was in an inferior Tiger, because Tigers suck.
You suck.
That is
Ezra's
the
just
first
excited to see it.
thing you've said all
To see
night.
Michael Whitman get clapped.
We went over this a few episodes ago.
Like, we've gone over it a couple episodes, a few episodes.
No, Michael Whitman didn't just get clapped. He got splattered everywhere.
Mm. Where did Michael Whitman go after the explosion? Everywhere.
Bro, you know the inside of that fucking turret was like pink.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Michael Whitman juice.
Oh god.
John,
Don't get
have
me
your
started.
beer coming on yet, or do we still have to pour it on a little bit thicker?
No, it's all good.
All right, guys,
It's
turn
a
it up. Let's go.
Yeah, I was saying, pour it on, man. I was saying, I'm only up.
A Michael Whitman smoothie.
rolling.
Lather it up.
Oh god.
And listen, another point about Stug superiority is the Stug claimed 20,000 kills in 1944.
Ezra,
How many did the How many did the
Stugs
Archer
were
claim?
built, though?
Hmm?
How many Stugs were built, though?
About 12,000.
How many Stugs were built?
Okay, so of 12,
Yeah,
let me
11,000.
pull up my calculator.
11,000. Like,
oh god, Dennis is
300.
pulling out his calculator.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Yeah, if you add all the studs, like the howitzer versions and the little short barrel dicks, whatever. Yeah, it was 11,000 something, but I mean, just short of 12,000.
They have a kill
Yeah.
ratio of 1.6. What are you talking about? That's not good.
And how many of those 20,000
Over
were like
one.
BT7s?
Well, exactly.
Dennis, it's over one.
That's still not good.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
over one.
If over one is your standard of what is good, then that is a very terrible military.
Yeah, but how many tanks did the Archer knock out? Probably not 20,000.
Yeah,
COVID currently has a
Literally
higher
dozens.
kill ratio than the
Ezra,
Stug.
Ezra. They were on one front, my man. They were on one
No,
front.
hold on. Ezra, they were
Well,
not.
COVID is
20,000
chemical warfare. That's
No,
completely different.
no. There were not 20,000 German tanks left by the time the Archer got in.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, didn't the Archer see most combat in Egypt after the war?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, weren't they getting domed by the Israelis?
No, they were clapping M51s.
Ooh.
Oh, that hurts.
Lapping M51s.
Didn't they do
That-
actually won the Yom Kippur War?
Yeah, I think
I
they
will
were
say-
involved in
They
that.
were, yeah.
They were, yeah. That hurts because the M51 and the Stug 3 are my favorite tanks. They're beautiful.
You are weird.
Oh, and the STRV 103.
Homeboy just like, he takes a bunch of
That's
academy
just
kits,
salt in the
closes his
wound,
eyes,
Ezra.
and puts his finger on one. He's like, "That's my favorite tank."
Or just throw
Look,
starts.
the STRV 103 is the modern equivalent of a Stug.
No, it's not.
You mean the 60s equivalent?
Well,
The
technically.
And arguably, it looks a lot more like a Valentine Archer than it does like a
I was
Stug.
about to say it acts a lot more like an Archer than it does a Stug.
Including the
semantics,
ability
don't
to
worry about
drive
it.
in reverse.
Yeah,
The Stug can drive in reverse, just not
yeah,
very
but how
fast.
Greg,
Not
defend
very fast.
yourself.
We'll do that another
Yeah.
episode.
We gotta go
Do you
next
want to
slide.
know? Oh, yeah, next
We're
slide, next
rambling.
slide. Yeah.
Yeah, we do
Okay,
that.
this proves Stug superiority. It is 3 inches smaller than the Archer.
Oh, 3 inches
Short
means a lot
king.
to you, doesn't it?
It's perfect for ambushes. Let's see your the extra 3 inches try to hide in a bush.
It's 3 inches went somewhere else.
Hey, according to this slide and many other beforehand, 3 inches is a lot.
I can hide 3 inches in a bush, no problem.
You know, the Stug, so the Archer being an open top vehicle, the Stug was originally built as an open top vehicle, but the crews complained that they would be too exposed to enemy fire.
Wait, was it? Really?
They just need a
Really?
target.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the first iteration of the Stug was supposed to be open top vehicle.
Huh.
Yeah, but the Germans really didn't. I mean, obviously they had some open top vehicles like the Nashorn and a couple of the Panzer 38 conversions, but
It's a
Yeah,
Kuba
the-
wagon.
that's a
So,
Jeep.
so what you're saying is then is that Stug crews are cowards.
Well, yes,
Yeah, cowards.
Well,
cowards.
well
In
no,
a
no,
way-
no. I object.
they were.
As
I
you
mean,
do.
you got to think about Germany. I mean, I guess maybe not in the beginning of the war did they realize how valuable the crews were over their actual, armored vehicles, but for sure they needed protection from things like air support because they had zero air superiority for like the majority of the war, and obviously of artillery attacks they needed some overhead
So
protection.
they thought their crews were valuable, so the first thing they do is they put them in a little metal box, which is completely sealed, right beside the ammunition rack.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, everybody was doing this. Everyone was sticking guys.
Yeah,
in the little
exactly.
metal
That's what a
boxes.
tank is.
Yeah, but at least the Archer, at least the Stug can't be taken out by a dude lobbing a grenade inside. They have to get on and open a hatch first.
I think
If it's
Don
not
and I
locked.
could discuss an incident where that would prove that didn't really happen in out in the Netherlands when we get to our slides.
Oh boy.
Oh no, he has a defense mechanism.
Also, the Stug is cheap and plentiful.
So it's literally from Alibaba.
You know what? Yes, it is. Oh, actually, no, it's from AliExpress.
We buy our tanks from AliExpress.
Well, and that cost too. That cost was only reduced because there was no turret, right? That was kind of the main. That's the main cost saving thing here is that it's a case-made vehicle instead of having a turret.
The turret is in the driver.
Well, right.
John, question for you about the Stug. So,
Sure.
because it doesn't have a turret, did they do anything with the gearing of it to try and make it easier to, say, turn the vehicle to compensate for that lack of a turret?
Absolutely not.
Perfect.
The Germans, yeah, no. I would say the final drive and the transmission, it was the same as the Panzer III. They really didn't. They really didn't have time for upgrading things like the transmission. and the
That's
final
very
drive.
that's very un-German of them, though. They were always innovating.
Hans,
and
level
improving.
5, 20
Like, you know
meters.
what? Fuck it, good enough.
Although by all accounts, though, especially the earlier models like the Panzer III and the Stug, all the mechanical, the engine, the gearbox, the all of that stuff was actually adequate enough because they hadn't overtaxed all those systems. Because like as the war goes on, they keep slapping more armor on the Panzer III, on the Panzer IV, on the Stugs, without improving really the motor or any of the the drive shaft or the final drives. They just keep slapping on more weight and expecting. They kept expecting the equipment to keep working.
This is
obviously it
pre-concrete.
failed over and over again. Yeah, pre-concrete, and it was still, it was moderately successful. But again, the Germans, if you look at a lot of their designs, it was almost like they didn't expect them to break down all that much because it really was difficult to work on all.
Imagine,
these things.
it's almost like there was hubris in their design.
Yes, a hubris and a sort of sense of urgency. Like, oh my God, we're in a war now. Like this wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think like what it was made for, it did that job pretty well.
Yeah, I look back to like I'm thinking about the Stug like like the Offs A through C versions, the very early ones with the little short
Right.
barrel.
Right.
They
the
carried
assault guns,
they carried 80% HE ammo, and if Manstein had his way, because they only had I think there was like maybe 36 of them during the 1940 invasion of France.
Mhm.
You really don't see the Stug until you get into Operation Barbarossa, like 1941 campaign. But if Manstein has had his way, you would have definitely seen them more fighting in France. But the ones that did actually do combat in France, yeah, they did exactly what they were meant to do: roll up with the infantry, lob HE rounds, and just take out pillboxes and machine gun nests and all that. And they were, on all accounts, pretty successful in doing that job. They didn't become tank killers until later. They were still
Right.
considered Sturm artillery at this point.
And here we have a list of all of the variants. So, it's A through C have the short barrel, right? And then from, I wrote this down in the notes.
Yeah, so I've got a book. So let's see. In
Okay,
my book,
A through E. A through E have
through
the
E,
short
yes.
gun. Yes, and then F through G have the long pack 40. Or Stuck 40, I forget which.
yeah. Well, the F had actually a shorter 75. When you get to the F8, you have the 75 by I think it's 38 or something. Because the original F model, the 75 was just a little bit shorter than the F8 through the G models.
Okay.
But the G model, the longer barrel, was the more prolific of the Stug.
Right.
They made
And-
much more of those.
And we're going to get to that in a few slides when we discuss
sorry.
the armament. No, it's fine.
Question. Make sure I get this right. Which one did the Finnish use? The G, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost exclusively the G.
Because it's a G vehicle.
I will say it is cool that they made a flamethrower version of the Stug. That's kind of interesting.
Pretty sure everyone had a flamethrower or something.
There was no flamethrower Archer.
No, but there's a flamethrower universal carrier.
It's true.
That is true.
Cope and
Did they
see.
ever put a flamethrower in the Valentine? without it being an archer?
Yes.
They did, huh?
It is, as I also consult the book.
Yeah, Ezra, do you have this? You've literally got Server Daddy here with a book.
Yeah, sorry, I'm an old man. I got books all day long.
Nah, books are great.
Nothing wrong with a good old book.
Books are
Crap, I can't find it now. I might have made that up. I'll keep looking.
I know
No, but
the,
okay,
Yeah,
sounds
you're
right.
They did test out a flamethrower on the Valentine.
Yeah, the
But
British
they
all
never-
kinds of crazy shit.
Wait.
They also
What gun
tried
did the
turning
bishop
the,
have?
2.5
the
pound.
Bishop 25 pounder, I think.
Okay.
They also tried turning
gonna-
the Valentine into a DD before the
Mhm.
Did
Sherman.
they really?
Yeah,
Before the Sherman.
Yeah, actually, I saw one. I saw a restored one at Bovington. They were originally going to use Valentines as the DD tanks for D-Day and all that. Except one of the problems was, you know how the turret sits quite far up, and you got the gun that sticks out.
Yeah, was it unbalanced to the front?
Well, what they had to do is the turret had to be rotated to face backwards so you could get the screen up. So then basically, they drop the screen, you still got to rotate it and all that. Whereas the Sherman, you just drop the screen, and you're good to go. You know.
See,
That's
even
a bit of an
the
issue.
Allied commanders thought smaller was better.
Yeah, that's
Well,
interesting.
yeah. They also never shoved a 105 into a Valentine, though.
No,
Don't
they
need it.
didn't.
No. They
No,
shoved
but they
something
did put a 75 in it.
And a 95,
That's true.
but they never got deployed.
I mean, the closest I think you get to that's the Bishop, right? With the
Yeah.
87?
No, Bishop was 25 pounder. So Bishop's your self-propelled howitzer. And then there was plans for a heavy Valentine with either a 57, a 75, or a 95. But
Oh god.
they moved on from it because at that point things like Cromwell and whatnot were coming online, so you had a better chassis.
What? How much of a difference is there between the Crusader and the Valentine?
In terms of what?
Just in in weight and armor, because they look so similar to me. Or am I thinking of a different tank? I'm sorry. Hold on.
No,
I think I'm tripping.
you'd be
The Valentine has got more armor than a Crusader. The Crusader had fucking none,
the
basically.
Crusader was a tin box.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That was there. The Valentine is the heavier one. Okay, that's what I'm. Okay.
Yeah, because
That's
the
what I'm screwing up.
Valentine was an infantry tank. Crusader was a cruiser, so it had more armor. Like the
Wasn't the
Crusader only had,
Valentine-
what, 50 millimeters?
Yeah, I think it was.
Wasn't the Valentine the one that cooked its troops? Its crewmen?
That was the Covenanter.
Yeah,
Covenanter, okay.
Yeah, because they had the radiators on the front.
Yeah.
and running
Yeah, there's
coolant
this-
through the crew compartment.
Yeah, stupid fucking design.
Except in Russia. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack is right, except in Russia. They would have been perfect.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The
Moving
Stug,
on.
for what it is, has fairly good armor. Like 80 millimeters. 81 if you look at the diagram, but... And that doesn't even count all of the concrete that the crew would put on, which in no way would affect it being able to move faster.
And actually, the
Somehow normalize the shot that hits it.
the concrete actually made it worse for crews.
I can imagine.
Like significantly worse.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
there was going to be a deflection, like, you know, if you're going to, instead of having a ricochet, the concrete was soft enough that the tip would actually dig in and turn the projectile to, you know, face the armor better. Yeah, there was like, you know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. It was just, yeah, the concrete just made things worse. It was good for morale, but that was it.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
well,
guys. You're
don't
plenty
worry.
If you feel invincible, you are invincible. Michael Whitman.
As they drive.
Yeah, see, don't worry about it. Like, all we're focusing on is the archer and the Stug, and the Stug has significantly more armor than the archer. So
You sound like a religious person who's like, don't look at the bad parts of my religion, look at the good parts.
Whitman's Tiger had considerably more armor than the Sherman that domed him, but
That didn't save him.
well, he was incompetent.
and Ezra, I can't read your silly little diagram here, but I'm pretty sure that 80 millimeter applies strictly to like one small section of the glacis, and
It does,
the rest of
it
the
does.
thing is covered in tin plate and hopes and prayers.
I mean, hey, maybe it'll work. Who knows?
I'm seeing a lot of what's that? 17 millimeter, maybe 30 millimeter on the floor, 18 millimeter on the engine deck.
I see a lot of roof armor that's quite thin, especially in areas where you might get, I don't know, attacked by a typhoon.
Yeah,
still
but that's
thicker
if
than
the
the fucking
typhoon can hit
Panther.
you.
The Typhoon definitely hit.
You and everything else in the grid square.
Yeah, well, I think the Typhoon had, I think it was like a 20% hit ratio or something. It wasn't fantastic.
The 3-inch rocket was not known for its accuracy.
But then the 20
No.
millimeter cannons were awful.
That's true.
Yeah, didn't the Typhoon have like the highest like armor kills in the Second World War? Something like that.
I think they had the highest claimed kills.
Yeah,
Yeah.
highest claim, probably.
We all know what Air Force claims are.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
The problem. Yeah, I think they claimed a lot more hits than they actually received. Like most of the, at least in Normandy, the Normandy campaign, it was like less than 20%.
While we
Oh,
have been
yeah.
recording this podcast, I have single-handedly knocked out 4 Panthers.
Yeah, but have you knocked out any Stugs?
He has it because they're invincible. Them and their like 30 millimeters of roof armor.
With very poor steel, may I add.
Yeah.
And actually,
Is my volume back up again?
Oh yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You
we're
will
gonna
probably
worry.
survive.
To go back to my ADD moment, there was a flamethrower Valentine. I finally found it. It was experimental only, but it was used in development of the Churchill Crocodile.
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
Nice.
nice.
There you
That's
go.
kind of
Very
cool.
Hold
It's
on.
a trailer
pause,
flamethrower?
Pause.
Yes.
I'm just going to take it 1 second. Hold on. Okay.
So not to backtrack too much, but
No, that's
I
what
was
we
saying,
do here. It's fine.
well, good, because I do this too. So on my podcast on episode 10, I actually was talking about the Typhoons and their rockets specifically in their close air support role. Their hit rate was less than 4%.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
Yikes.
but one of those rockets at 4% of a hit rate, if it hit even a fucking Panther, that Panther was done. Any tank that got hit by that rocket, it is absolutely done for.
Well, me and my Stug crew will take that 4% risk.
You'll roll those dice. Yeah, get your D100 out. Let's go.
Yeah, there's enough Stugs out there that they can take those chances.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Put on your helmet and you'll be fine.
It's almost like this.
Wait, what helmet? We're Panzer crew. There's no helmets.
It's almost like attitude.
Yeah,
like that,
take it
like
from a
the
dead
inordinate
SS guy.
amount of losses.
I mean, at the point where the Typhoons were out there, like, you can probably just find a dead SS guy to steal his helmet.
There's
Who said he
certainly
had to be
plenty of
SS, Ezra? What about the regular Wehrmacht?
Oh,
Who said there was going to be anything left of his helmet?
yeah. Can I point
You
out
mean
another thing about the armor?
Clean Wehrmacht.
I'd like to point out another thing about. So you got the side skirts there, right?
Right.
Um,
The Schutzen.
Yep, the Schutzen. They actually made it more effective for the American bazookas.
Because it activated their fuse.
Did they?
Yeah,
Oh.
the bazooka rounds, their fuses. One of the reasons they didn't work that well, apart from not being trained well enough about tank destroying, was the fuse was too long. So when it hit, it would usually bounce off or something like that before it detonated. The Schutzen actually allowed the fuse to hit at the right moment. So really, you're adding on armor and making it easier for someone with a bazooka to take you out.
Sort of in a similar
but
sense
I
to
don't-
how the concrete helps normalize an armor-piercing round.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's great in concept, not great in practical. use.
I mean, but the Scherzen wasn't made to defend against the bazooka when it was made. It was made for the Eastern Front.
Yeah, the PTRD.
Yeah.
And to defend against their own Panzerfausts once they started getting captured.
Yep.
John, question for you. I'm not sure if you would have known this statistic, but do you have any idea of like how effective things like the PTRD actually were against things like the Stug on the Eastern Front?
Well, so when I was doing when I did the series on the Panther, when we were talking about the Battle of Kursk specifically, the PTRDs, those would penetrate the Panther on the side. So
Nice.
So the same thing with the side skirts here. Those side skirts were developed for the Panther, and actually, it's why the Panther 2 project was canceled, because the Panther 2 they were going to just like double the size of the side hull armor.
Exactly.
But once they realized that they could just use a little bit of mild steel to just deform the PTRD bullet, that was enough for them to go, you know what? Just stick skirts on it and we'll go ahead with the Panther. So I will say this, as effective as they were very effective as long as they were able to hit the sides. And there was like a metric fuck ton of those on the Eastern Front that like they legitimately were causing problems.
What,
Could you get a couple
PTRDs or Russians?
Well, both. Really, yeah, both really. And also, they actually found out that the side skirts were effective at deflecting and kind of softening the blow of the 50 millimeter anti-tank guns that the Russians were putting out there as well.
Well, probably.
Yeah, it was actually it was enough to kind of deflect it, because anything straight onto the Panther side was basically going to punch right through. That was almost a given.
The only problem is just trying to get it through that gap between like the upper hull and the tracks and road wheel.
Yes. There was a little bit of precision needed, but
Hey, when you're on the Russian front and you're popping tanks left and right, you got experience.
Anti-blitzkrieg.
Okay, so what's the next slide about the Stug?
Ooh, best part.
Mucho big cannon, yes.
We all know
I just
how much
want to
they
know
like big cannons.
that the Stug's F through G could kill 54 tanks. Let that sink in, you know?
A single Tiger could kill 10 Shermans.
That's 54 dead smoking Shermans. Or
But there's
Persians.
always 55.
Yeah, that's the American way.
I mean, 54 to 1 isn't a bad...
54 AP rounds. What?
That's assuming their logistics is going to work, not...
That's assuming they're carrying 54 AP rounds, which they never would be.
That's assuming you can see your target from inside your little concrete box.
The Shermans were very fast.
Well, that's why you have Hans sticking his head out of the loader hatch.
And getting it shot off by the 50 cal on top of the Sherman.
But the Sherman has to see the camouflaged Stug first.
Easy enough.
I feel like if they were sitting in an ambush position, they could get the first shot of.
Oh, they actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if used properly as an ambush weapon, they were extremely effective until they were found, in which case they might have been a little bit in trouble, but
I feel like they'd be easy to exploit once you found their position.
Oh, absolutely.
Just drive around their side.
They don't have an oscillating turret, so of course it's easy to exploit.
Well, it's the exact same with like the Hetzer and any smaller tank destroyers.
True.
Unless you're like Brad Pitt and Fury, then you have plot armor, so you know you can have a fucking gun staring straight in front of a Sherman and miss.
German Brad Pitt.
Hey, that's Hollywood, okay? That actually happened. Okay.
And not to be too big of an asshole here, but the 7.5, the L43, that was actually only on the Stug F. Everything F8 and I guess F8 and the G, it actually had the L48 gun. It was just a little bit longer.
Oh,
which gave it a little bit better penetration and just characteristics. It's such a nitpicky fucking thing, but yeah, there's the L43 gun that was on the Stug F, and they had the L48 gun.
Could those take the same ammo types, or was it a different round?
Yes.
It's basically the same.
It was just a little bit of a longer barrel.
Yeah, it was a longer barrel, and I think the muzzle brake was different. So the recoil
Okay,
was
noted.
just a little bit different. Yeah, it's like such a little nitpicky thing, but that's why there's the Stug F and then the F8 because that 8 is the L48.
Do you know
That's
why
cool.
they had the different guns?
God, because maybe Hitler woke
They
up on the
kept
wrong
running
side of the
out.
bed. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I think it was just one of those production
They
things.
had some
'cause
extras.
I think the L48, I think that barrel is also what they used on the pack guns. So I think it was just a matter
Right.
of they just had
Okay.
it lying around.
Mm.
They figured, might as well strap them in.
Yeah.
We've already
So
got
it was
these.
Hitler took one look at the Stug E and was like, "We need the longest gun possible."
Yeah, here's a couple more inches.
He's like, I might not be able to add inches to myself, but I can add inches to my Stug.
He is compensating.
The Stug is the equivalent of that lifted truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's rolling
Oh,
coal
a
all day
lifted-
long.
God.
He's
Just
got
make
the
a
fuck
lifted
Trudeau
Stug.
flags.
I want to see a lifted Stug now.
Get the fuck out of here.
God.
I
That'd
don't
be
think
so
that's
cool.
possible.
So you're making it really hard to be on your team right now.
That's called an elephant, isn't it?
Oh yeah, what was that E series, the E50 or whatever?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that one that could lift themselves up and down on their suspension.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Once.
Hydraulics.
Oh
Hydropneumatic.
no shit, Jack.
Yeah.
Bag.
I don't know. Fucking technology.
Big Brennan over here.
Well,
Okay,
next slide, please.
What you got
Oh,
next there, Group and
Yeah.
Fear?
Oh, we have an even bigger gun. We have
God.
105 howitzer.
We have one on
Oh,
my
yeah.
here.
You also have riveted armor.
Yeah, the rivets. That's what I'm looking
I
at.
think
I
that
hate you,
was
man.
just extra bolted on armor. Although it's actually
Yeah.
riveted
Fair
armor.
enough.
It's just extra plates they put on.
It
'Cause,
looks
I mean,
sick.
The stews were like the advanced. They were Sturm howitzers, so they were really like the final version of the assault gun. They were truly meant
Exactly.
as an infantry support tank, which is why they decided to slap on this additional frontal armor and just like fucking go straight at them. Don't worry about what's to your sides. You got infantry for that. And then, I mean, they carried AP rounds for those, but I think it was mostly HE.
I will say, I think I like these more than like than say just like a G, just because of that shorter, thicker gun.
They do have a better aesthetic, I think.
Yeah, especially because the gun's a different color. I don't know that. It's still in the. I'm guessing what primer.
No, don't go there.
so
Don't even
we're
go
going-
there. Nope.
Sure.
Nope.
Oh,
Different color, my dude. It's black and white. What do you mean?
Next.
Yeah, next
Oh,
slide.
so you
Next.
just see black and white, huh?
whoa.
Yep.
Go back.
Nope. No.
Nope.
I have one more thing to address.
What?
I'd like to see your pitiful Valentine stick a 105 howitzer on it.
We didn't need to. We had better tanks to do that.
Actually,
Well-
they did actually put a 25 pounder on it. They just decided, now we've got better stuff for it than that.
Yeah, but the Bison sucked though.
The bison.
Bison did suck.
I say that
Yeah.
as I'm playing with little 1/100 Bison I'm working on. It's
Leave
so
it to Ezra
cute.
to literally be playing with little toys while he's talking about tanks.
Ezra, you built a lot of Stugs, right? You,
I
you
have
built
built a lot of
things.
Stugs.
You built a lot of things
Yes.
that suck.
Oh,
So
I
on,
mean,
on the
the models are good. The topic just sucks. Yeah.
on,
Yeah,
on
that
the,
was a bit
on
of a low blow there.
that was.
On the previous slide, it said you didn't have any information on the ammo. I got a little fun tidbit. So while obviously it's a full size howitzer round, so it's just firing high explosive rounds. It did have, and actually this was kind of like on Hitler's orders, that they actually carried shape charges. They were actually heat rounds. They weren't just regular AT rounds. They were high explosive anti-tank rounds.
Ooh.
It's fucking baller.
Which,
Well,
which
shit,
again,
there you
yeah,
go.
which is kind of a funny thing to think. They're just like fucking lobbing these heat rounds at tanks, but they didn't carry a whole lot of them because obviously all of the ammo shortages and the heavy metals and stuff they needed. But yes, they did carry like a few of these HEAT rounds.
Let me just say, Greg, you think the Pershing is so cool? The
Yes.
Pershing could not stand one of those. That's one dead Pershing.
The Pershing would fuck up your fucking little.
You,
Concrete.
Ezra, you don't attack. The
Don't be
judge's
doing this to
favorite tank.
Greg.
Look
Yeah,
he's gonna
what?
do now.
What are you doing?
Shoot, I forgot he's neutral. No. See, if the
Not
Germ-
anymore.
Greg, I love
think-
the Pershing.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh.
I think the Germans should have bought all of the Pershings.
Did someone hear something? I think someone left the window open.
All I can hear is a lot of coping.
Yeah, I hear a lot of bullshit coming out.
But it makes sense.
All right, come on, Ezra. Tell us about your post-war Stugs here.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
perfect,
what
okay.
is that? What is that thing that is?
That 50 cal.
It looks like
That is
it's got 20.
It's
Yeah, actually,
beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
okay.
what the fuck is
Oh,
that?
I want to build that.
I know. Post-war, I think it's a G late because it has the
The pig head,
The machine
right?
gun?
yeah, and the machine gun. Isn't that
looks
the
like-
same MG off of the Hetzer? Like same
Yeah,
design?
it is. It's the exact same one.
Yeah.
That
Which
like
would-
20 mil or 50 cal, whatever it is, looks like something that Israel would do. Because they love
Yeah.
sticking MGs.
Yeah, is that
Mhm.
Israeli markings on the
I
side
can't
of
read
that 20
but
as
it
well?
looks-
I don't think it's Israeli.
No, that's Arabic.
Yeah,
Ah.
I'll bet
Syrian?
it's
Yeah,
Syrian.
Jack.
What?
Yeah, Jack.
Okay,
Not all
I'm
Middle
sorry.
Eastern countries are the same.
Yeah,
Yes, they
Syria
are.
got a ton of these from Russia after the war.
Who just said
And
yes?
they still
are?
use them.
Well, if it ain't broke,
It will be
Imagining,
soon.
like, a cornet
Yeah,
now.
exactly. give it time.
Although I think the fact that these are still running is a testament. I mean, they're
That is
probably not
true.
running in great
The Greyhound is still running to this day.
order.
Okay,
Hey,
the Greyhound.
It's a great armored vehicle.
Yeah, but it's a Greyhound. It's great.
$20 though. That the transmission is definitely not stock.
Oh,
Oh,
they just tossed
definitely.
It's
a
kind of
fucking
Mazda
normal diesel
transmission.
transition in there.
Yeah, bro, get your like,
Scavenged out of a Corolla.
nah, bro, get like a Ford Ranger. Put the engine from that in the Greyhound.
Oh Jesus!
Somebody
Oh, boy.
electric swap the Greyhound.
Oh god.
Prius swap. You got the hybrid electric Greyhound.
Oh god.
Hybrid electric. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I will
because
say
that's-
for
that's
Dennis, want to
gone
put
wrong when
a
it comes to
want to
electric
EV swap my
vehicles.
Iltis?
Okay, look. For as good as I say the Stug is, there is one thing I'll admit it's not good at.
Winning
And can
wars.
anyone guess what that is?
Winning wars.
Okay, that was a low blow. That was a low blow.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
low
hey, hey,
hanging fruit.
hey, hey. Call it a low blow all you want. Just spitting facts.
Actually, no. Israel won some wars.
Israel won
fighting
some
these.
wars.
Israel won the war with more than just a couple of leftover Stugs.
Yeah, they had leftover Shermans and leftover Messerschmitts. Okay, calm
Exactly.
down.
Yeah, they had the glorious M51. I'm not calling it a Super Sherman because the Israelis never called it the Super Sherman. But, yeah.
You saying this makes me wish that maybe they didn't win as much.
Well,
I mean,
Ezra, if
off
you're not going to
topic.
call it as... Oh, go
This
ahead.
whole podcast is off topic.
I mean, the Israelis have some good tanks. Like they're good
Careful.
at their armored
Careful, I don't
combat.
want us to get banned off of YouTube.
What's that
Yeah.
futuristic one they use right now?
The
Merkava.
Merkava.
I
Merkava,
fucking hate
yeah.
that thing.
Yeah, it looks awful.
What's wrong with it?
It's
It looks
ugly.
retarded.
I don't know. I kind
It-
of like the aesthetics. It's
Okay.
ugly enough to be a good-looking tank.
The Mark
It's,
III was
Exactly.
fantastic. It was probably one of the best looking tanks ever made, and then they covered all the good features of it up.
Yeah, with additional armor.
I mean, say what you will, but a Merkava 4 LIC with an APS looks really nice.
No, you're wrong.
But it does though.
No,
All of
Russian
the Israeli
T90.
equipment.
Is this our part
better.
3? What?
Oh, the T90s don't.
they're not great
Like,
tanks, but they
T90.
look good.
The T90s
The
look
T90
sick.
does not look good.
What?
What do you mean it doesn't look good?
You say
The
the
T90
Stug, a concrete box.
But it's the concrete, like Zimmerit concrete.
so by that logic, if we put concrete on a T90, you'd be happy.
Say
Why
less.
not? I'm sure some Russian
somebody
monks are
has.
in Ukraine. Yeah.
You know what?
I'm
Yeah,
about to say, give it some time.
Give it another couple months, and I'm sure you'll see some with add-on concrete armor.
Oh, imagine a Stug 3 with a cope cage.
Stop.
Oh my god,
No.
Dude, imagine we, like, in a couple months, we see a fucking Stug rolling around the battlefields of Ukraine. Some fucker just found it, like, fuck it, we'll use it.
It's been sitting in a barn for
Yeah.
the last 85
They
years.
pull it out of a fucking bog and be like, yep, fix it up,
No,
send
better
it to
than
the
that,
front.
it's been sitting in a bush and no one's been able to find it.
Bush camping.
Ezra,
Been there since
It's-
World War II.
It's pulling
Ready
the
to ambush.
T-28 strategy. Yeah, what?
point of order. You've listed 5 countries here to justify the amazing post-war usage of the Stug.
This is true.
How many wars did Spain fight from 1943 to 1954? Did I miss a chapter out of my history book?
You sure
No,
did.
I was like, when
I'm
did they
sure,
fight in
like,
Algiers? That was the 50s,
I'm sure they
right?
used the Stugs to like slaughter some innocent people and
Wow,
do
that's a
fascism,
really fantastic like measure of how good of a vehicle it was.
Oh yeah,
That's like-
fighting innocent, unarmed people. That's great.
Yeah.
That's
To the
a North
democratically
Korea shit
elected
right there.
government of Spain, we have no control over what comes out of Ezra's mouth.
Jesus, there goes all your
we-
Spanish subscribers, fuck.
Democratically elected government.
You thought you were getting a fucking sponsorship.
So,
Ammo
you know,
Mig still sponsor me.
Don't.
That's why he added it. It's for MiG.
I think a lot of this. I think a lot of
Dear
the Stug's
ammo. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think a lot of the Stug's success. I don't even want to touch the post-war stuff because it was basically a garbage time vehicle after 45.
Makes
But
sense.
If you think about the Stugs, like the Stug's success is almost on accident. The Germans ended up using that vehicle not as it was intended, but more of because of the war they were fighting. So while they were busy designing like the Panther, the Königstiger, all these vehicles to fight a war of like, oh, we're gonna like advance and like attack all these territories. What they
Mhm.
really should have been building were
Pillboxes.
more vehicles. Yeah, they needed defensive vehicles. And
Right,
so the
right.
Stug, I think the Stug kind of gets like not an unfair, but it's a very bloated vehicle in the sense that yes, it has a high kill ratio and whatever you want to say, because it was fighting a defensive war. And if you have a small little vehicle with a big cannon that can just sit in a bush and ambush people, you're going to have a very, like a high kill to death ratio. But once you put this thing on the advance against other vehicles, like fighting against Israel and these things gets their asses kicked every time.
Oh,
So
for
you're
sure.
saying-
it's
poor
just not meant for
visibility.
that.
Right. No, exactly. And I think it was almost accidental that it was so successful.
So you're
Germans
saying
never intended it.
so you're saying that the Stug only got good when the Germans started losing.
Absolutely.
Actually, yeah.
And in my
That's
opinion, the
the reason.
Germans were losing the moment they declared war. I mean, there's never a winning formula for Germany after they
Right,
declared
right.
war against the Soviet Union. That was a foregone conclusion. It was just a matter of time and people.
Same with the
Delightful.
Japanese and the Americans.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
who was
that's
it? Yamato? Who was it? Yamamoto or something? Just
Yamato,
basically at the
Yeah,
when they did
Goku's
Pearl
the
Harbor and then
giant.
walking away from there, he just his quote was basically, "Yeah, we fucked up on this one. It's
Yeah.
my
we're
bad."
fucked."
Yeah, when you're
boy.
playing baseball in your backyard with your friends and you accidentally throw like 7 balls into the neighbor's window, that's what the Japs did at Pearl Harbor.
I'm just imagining like Yamamoto. Oh god,
Yamamoto.
Yamamoto. Thank you. I'm about to call him Yamato. And I'm like, no, that's all right. Yeah, Yamamoto's just like mailing a telegram to the American embassy saying, "Yeah, my bad, G."
Hey, yo, psych.
Oops, I slipped.
April Fools.
Got the
No
urge.
issue.
I mean, look, back to the whole Spain thing. Ammo Mig, if you sponsor me, I will
No,
I
too
will
late.
pull a kamikaze on you and walk into the AK Interactive building with a suicide.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I see calling
Oh.
it.
All right, cut that.
I
Cut
can't say that.
that.
I can't say that. I can't say that.
Violence is not the answer.
I will sacrifice
Did
myself
you not just
for you.
read the first slide we had?
This is a non-actionable threat. Everybody.
Every time.
See, when I
Every
say something
single
like that,
time.
it's funny. Okay,
That
but
was
when he
definitely
says
like a Dwight Schrute moment for Ezra.
Yeah. I didn't know we were podcasting with Liam. Jesus Christ.
Ugh. So have you got anything else to try and defend the Stug with, Ezra?
I think the suicide vest was
I
that
mean-
last Jeff.
Actually, no, he does have one more thing. He does have one more slide.
I do. Oh yeah, I do.
Oh god.
Oh,
Is it another cell phone? Oh my god.
New Mexico.
What the fuck
that
happened to
wasn't
that thing?
me. Don't worry.
Hey, that's my Stug from Detroit.
So,
Kid that's
Ezra,
from
can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
So you're all about the Stug 3. What about the Stug 4? Like, you never
No,
talk about that.
no,
It's basically
I
the
don't
same
like-
vehicle.
I hate it. I hate it.
Why?
No.
Do you hate the
He's
extra
very
road wheels?
opinionated.
Yes, I hate the extra road wheels. I hate the
Why do you
extra
hate
road
it?
wheels. I
Why?
hate the little driver's compartment up in the front. No.
Ezra, the Stug 4 cannot hurt you.
Is the Stug 4 in the room right now? Is it in the room with you right now?
Is he looking at you?
Probably, yeah.
See, Greg, that's
Probably,
what,
yeah.
Greg, that's what we should have sent him. We shouldn't have sent him a Stug 3. We should have sent him a Stug 4. And
Dude,
be like,
honestly.
throw it away, I dare you. We've made him
No,
build a Stug 4.
No, I'd be trying to backdate it. I'd be like removing one of the road wheels, slicing the hull.
Shortening the hull a bit.
Yeah. See, the Stug 4, it
I
just
have
doesn't
one.
have.
Should I have the RFM one. Should I send it to him?
Oh,
Yes.
God.
Yes, send it to him, please.
It's a really nice
You know what-
kit too.
It is, but I'd rather the Stug 3. Like, no offense to the Stug 4, it just doesn't look as good. It's too
You say
long.
no offense, but you literally just spent like 2 minutes shitting on it.
Oh, never mind. It's the Tamiya. Never mind. RFM is my Panzer IV.
Like, I don't know. It's too long with the extra road wheel.
It's too long.
Put that in the quotes. Put that in the quotes, Ezra. It was too long. There's hope, gentlemen.
Ezra has refined taste.
I want to get my girlfriend to say that.
Have her watch the episode.
Fuck.
See, okay. The Stug 3 with the short barrel, you know, that's maybe a little too short. But you put that 105 into it, and it's the perfect length.
Next.
Yeah,
That sounds gay as fuck.
Next.
Oh, okay. Another point where the Stug owns the Archer is look at how many kits there are.
Look at how many kits there are.
Okay, but how many of these were Dragon?
Do you know?
Because that means 8 of these aren't buildable.
I mean, they're buildable if you want to put enough.
No, show the
kits
next
into
2
them.
slides, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kits.
Well, okay, I also
There
want
are.
to point out the mini-art interior kit is also basically unbuildable because there's too many damn pieces to that.
I want to build that kit so badly.
You'll spend
Ezra
the next
would-
2
you can
years
disassemble
working
it.
Ezra would, he'd kill that kit. That would be great.
Thank you.
Honestly, actually, yeah.
I'd love to do it.
You should
On a
do it
real
like
note,
I think
like-
what he would
like
do is
field
he'd probably
affair.
build the whole
Order
thing
that
in, like,
right
2
now.
days. He'd never sleep.
eat a
We
little
checked
I
in
don't-
on him in like 4
Panzer
hours, and he
Podcast.
hasn't taken a break.
I built the Academy Merkava 4 in like 3.5 hours. The entire kit.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, look at how many. Oh, and 2 of these are 1/16th scale.
1/16. Oh my god.
I want one so bad. Think of all
Then
the fun
get one.
weathering.
Yeah, what's the best Stug kit? What's the best one? Out
Okay,
of all
so
of
you,
these?
you see the one with the white box with the profile, just like the
On
line drawing.
the right. Center
Yes.
right.
Right hand side, second from the bottom.
Yeah,
Yes. That's probably the best one. The RFM.
Early G model.
Nothing
Okay.
about the box art, though.
Yeah,
The
the
box art's a
is
little bit
that
lacking.
nice.
It's not what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside.
That is true in this case.
And in the case of a Stug, bunch of dead Germans.
Got him.
Oh, another
That's
reason I
right.
don't like the Stug 4. Thank you for reminding me. So, the driver of the Stug 4 is a coward. He has a little place where he can easily get out.
Oh yeah,
See,
because you wouldn't.
You're
want people to be
you're
able to get
telling
out.
me. You're
So
telling
we can't
me
go
that
down with
you're
the ship.
yeah, you're
That's fucking
basically
smart.
an Italian.
Yes. See,
my
the
God.
German has
He's
to
a
go down with
purist.
the Stug. He
What's
has
he
to go
supposed to
down with the
fucking go
Stug.
down? He's supposed to go down with the ship? Jesus Christ! The most valuable part of the machine is the
Yeah,
crew.
Yeah,
that's
see,
kinda
he has a-
when we get to the archer, I've got a very, very good fucking thing for this. This is why I chose the driver position.
He has a Luger for a reason. Or a
To shoot himself.
P38,
I
you know, whatever.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm about to say to pop himself.
When the flames get too close.
The only
I'm
thing with
pretty sure
that
the
is
archer
Lugers
couldn't
are
even
good
get out of
for-
the.
Yeah, at least in
Driver
the
can't
Archer,
get
I'm
out of
not
the
getting
archer.
decapitated whenever the 17-pounder goes off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, hold on.
I know it's a myth.
That
I know it's a
is
myth. I know it's a
that has
myth.
been disproven
I
so many
know.
times.
I'm grasping for whatever I can got,
There
okay?
is no.
Yo,
There's
Ezra.
never been a recorded example of anyone getting harmed by the recoil. That was designed not to.
I know, there's a little guard that folds down.
Ezra, you gotta build that.
Let's go that far.
I think it's
You gotta
about
build the-
time for Archer's turn, isn't it then?
No,
I
there's one more
believe so.
slide.
No,
There's one
no,
more
no.
slide of Stugs.
Is it just
Why,
more,
Ezra-
more kits?
I really want to see you build
Look at
that
how many more
Revell
kits there
172nd.
I wouldn't touch that. No.
I would.
What?
The Revell 172nd. I want to see him build it.
Ugh.
Oh, what, Ezra? You wouldn't touch a Revell kit? What?
I won't touch a
Bullshit.
172nd scale Revell kit
Why?
Yeah, well,
because those
are-
rubber band tracks.
No.
Make your own. Make your own. You take like 20 seconds to build the thing.
Okay, that is fair. You know what? I would probably scratch build shirts in for it, so I could probably hide it.
There you
I
go.
don't
Make
know.
out a copper sheeting.
Also,
There you
the
go.
reason
Yeah,
that there are so many kits available of this vehicle
Beautiful
is
vehicle.
because anything German sells to wearaboos like you, and B, the Germans couldn't settle on one design. When you have 95 variants, and every one of these companies can make a buck off all 95 variants, of course they're going to make them because Ezra's going to go out and buy them.
That's good.
Damn
model
straight.
now.
Now,
In fact,
Yeah.
these last three slides are just Ezra's stash.
The dream stash.
God,
Oh,
the
yeah.
boutique German manufacturing. You could have two separate vehicles come off the same line, and they'll be completely different.
Everything's
Yes.
hand fitted.
Nothing fucking matches. It's just a
Artisanally
goddamn
built just for
nightmare.
the occasion.
Right?
I just
yeah.
want to say,
Back show
as,
of armor.
as much as I love the Stug, I don't like the O series or 0 series or whatever it is.
what is that?
Really early.
That's the,
Yeah,
test
the
model.
very first ones.
Yeah, the extremely early.
Well,
I
those
just-
and those almost didn't even get built because the army didn't want to give them any pieces to build on. Manstein had
Right.
to like basically beg
That-
and steal to get that.
Hang on, I just found out the reason Ezra doesn't like the O series. It's got 8 road wheels per side.
Oh, god, that is disgusting. What the
Truth
fuck?
comes out.
They're too small. They're too small and there's too many. Also, the barrel's too short and the casemate set too far back.
It's a funky looking vehicle.
It's
Yeah,
very
can
1939
try.
looking.
you
Looks
can
like
totally
if I
learn a
was a
lot from it.
kid and tried to draw the Stug.
Try to draw
the-
the Stug from memory while only seeing it once.
What was
The
it like
gas
the
work-
Indian version of the Abrams or whatever that's in the Middle East?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
God.
look like it?
Oh, the Argent.
Yes.
God.
The Das Work 1/16 scale Stug, that has nice box art. The one in the top left.
Yeah, but you said you'd never build that one, would you?
No, I'd never build the Revell one. I would happily build the Das Work kit. Well, it has a few inaccuracies, but I could deal with that. I could fix them.
No, when things are hand built, they're not inaccuracies; they're customizations.
No, I mean like the smoke launchers are too small.
You can fix those.
Oh, easily.
Bro,
really
the
like that.
T-72 I did for the Ukraine die was like way out of proportion. I think you'll be okay with the little tiny smoke launchers.
Yeah, the smoke launchers aren't actually the right size.
How bad I use,
The tire tank is like 5 foot longer than it should be. Yeah, it'll work.
Okay, move on to the Archer, please.
Alrighty.
And my
So to
misery.
counterpoint this guy's horrible take,
Whoa,
we have the
Dennis.
Archer.
Oh.
No, wrong one. The Archer.
I did a lot of wrong research. Oh, there we go.
What?
Is that a
What did
Crayon?
you do to my boy?
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I
He's
thought
so
that was a syringe
cute.
in his mouth. I didn't realize it was a crayon. Like, oh, it's the San Francisco bear.
It's Amsterdam. It could be either one. So, I thought to clarify, before we
Ugh.
systematically destroy Team Stug's points here, we need to clarify one thing. There is a difference between a tank destroyer and an assault gun. One of these vehicles here, the Archer, is a tank destroyer. It is designed to kill tanks.
No.
It's a self-propelled gun, I'm aware. It's more of a self-propelled anti-tank gun, but...
But isn't
So
that
you're
just
wrong.
isn't that
Dennis,
a
you're wrong.
UK? Isn't that like that's like arguing semantics though, right?
That's completely a doctrinal thing, right?
Right,
Well, exactly.
right. The
but
UK would call them a tank.
impacts how effective it's going to be at destroying other tanks, which is kind of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but the Stug was effective at destroying other tanks as well.
But it matters
Oh,
very
I just
much
wanna
the way it's laid out.
Oh, okay, that is kind of true. I like how you picked a Finnish Stug just to make me mad.
Yeah.
Fish are superior.
This point will become far more clear as we go along, but it's important to keep in mind that one of these is designed specifically to engage tanks, the other one is designed originally as an assault gun, and that's sort of co-opted into being a tank destroyer of sorts.
You know what? I have an open mind. Continue.
It's surprising.
Yes. So basically, the main points about the Archer that I think we should probably discuss are, like the Stug, it's built off of the base of a pretty reliable, pretty well-known vehicle, that being the Valentine infantry tank. So basically, the whole idea here is that the British were looking for a method of mounting the 17-pounder anti-tank gun onto a self-propelled mount, rather than just towing it around, which they were using with the Don, correct me here, these were the quad tractors, I want to say?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the quads. The quads towed the 25-pounders and the 17-pounders.
That's correct, yeah. So the idea here being that the 17-pounder is originally a towed anti-tank gun. It's probably the best one of the war. I'd say, you could argue that point, but I think you could definitely argue in favor of that. And the whole notion here is that prior to 1943, they were looking at methods of mounting it on a tank chassis, just so that they can move it around a lot more expediently than towing it. And so between March 1943 and May 1945, about 655 of these were produced. They were 2.25 meters in height, 6.67 meters in length, and I guess the main thing, the elephant in the room, is the gun's on backwards.
Yeah, counterpoint. You said that they were originally being towed by quads, but what was the top speed of the quad when they were towing it?
That'd be a question for Don.
I have no idea. Give me a second. I will.
Yeah, hold on.
Well, whatever it is.
Everyone.
Whatever it is,
this. Oh, God.
I'm sure that it'll be faster than the fucking Valentine driving even forward.
Most likely.
And it'll probably be more maneuverable and easier to set up rather than having to get to your position, turn this bitch around, and then try and back it into its firing position.
No, because you got to remember the towed 17-pounder was also a limber system too. So now you're screwed around with split trail artillery and a limber,
still,
and trying to move your prime mover out of the firing line.
The better chassis argument doesn't really it kind of is better, but you're losing a lot of speed and maneuverability. Sure, you're gaining.
Let's say you're moving speed and when you're just trying to get from point A to point B, but when it actually counts, you're trying to reposition and get out of a position after you've been spotted, because this was again meant to engage tanks directly. It's much easier to just drive this thing away than it would be to put the limber back on, get everything packed up, and then leave.
The other thing you have to remember is that the quad had a top speed of 50 miles per hour on road. But as soon as you have to now take this thing cross country, pulling a gun and limber, your speed and maneuverability are significantly reduced anyway.
Fair enough. I thought I'd bring it up.
I can't actually find the listed top speed while towing a full load. I'm sure there's some.
No,
I'm sure it'll be
hiding somewhere.
It would be probably faster, say, on a road. And that's a great point. And that's one of the reasons why the 17-pounder was so effective, is that it could be moved by the field artillery tractors to wherever it had to be. But the issue still was there that you needed to have some method of putting it on a chassis that could go across country very easily. It was just a bit more self-contained, right? That could be used by the Royal Artillery to defend, flanks of an attack from a German counterattack, because that's always what the German strategy was. once the Allies began to attack, they would counterattack with a great deal of force. The idea here was that this could be used to defend the flanks of that attack and basically have the most potent weapon in the Commonwealth arsenal to defeat any tanks that were sent at them.
To be fair, Dennis, to be fair, about the
To be
speed thing,
fair,
when you have air superiority, you really don't need to go cross country too often.
Exactly.
Was this the same 17 pounder that they put in the Firefly?
exactly the
They're
same.
exactly the
Oh,
same.
shit. Okay. So that's the kind of firepower we're talking about.
Yes.
And that's another good point. Is if they had the Sherman Firefly, why didn't they just make more of those rather than? Because I'm sure they had the chassis and they had the guns. Why wouldn't they just toss those guns in Fireflies and have more Fireflies floating around?
Because the
Yes.
Firefly was a massive clusterfuck.
The Firefly wasn't actually, as good as reported. I mean, yes, it's got the fucking 17 pounder in it, but you also got to remember that it's in a turret that is meant to be mounted for a 75.
Yeah, it did more extensive modifications.
Well, yeah, they had to modify the fuck out of the turret, and the gun actually, is sitting on a 90-degree fucking turn just to get it to fit. So,
Yeah.
and trying to watch people load it, it was an absolute bitch and a half to try and load the Firefly. So,
And one point I think is worth considering here is that the 17 pounder is huge, and I think we can't ignore that. And obviously with the Sherman they had trouble mounting it, but by 1941 and 1942, when the British began to start thinking about how can we mount this anti-tank gun, it wasn't clear, especially with the tanks at the time, if that could even be done. They produced the Churchill gun carrier, the one in War Thunder that's a box, right? They produced that, which wasn't a 17 pounder, but it was still a 3-inch.
That was a 3-inch.
It was getting there, right? But really, even by 1943, this was the only configuration that they could use that made sense. So, I mean, there are many reasons, and we'll get into them, why having the gun mounted backwards is a good idea, but this is also very much just because this was the only way they could do it at the time in 1943, because the Firefly didn't really start making inroads until 1944. But yeah, so basically the point here being, it has a crew of 4. It's got the commander, gunner, loader, and driver. The driver sits at the front of the vehicle. He's got a little vision port. The gunner, loader, and commander, they're basically sitting facing the rear. The idea here being that whenever the vehicle would want to defend an area, it would reverse into position, usually a hold down position, so only the gun itself is sticking out. And then whenever it had to reposition, the driver could just throw it in forward, and it can get away as quickly as a Valentine could.
So they're cowards.
When you think about it
They're
as well,
retreating.
Snipers, Ezra. Snipers. Precision shooting. Move cover.
This is the most Canadian tank ever.
yeah, scoot and shoot, shoot and scoot, whatever you want to call it. And also, I want to point out, you got more survivability in an Archer. Think about it, from a frontal hit, because you got a whole fucking engine block in the way.
It's the Merkava before it was cool.
And I will point out one thing about survivability. It did have in certain areas 60 millimeters of armor, which is not amazing, obviously. But then again, the Stug had 80, so I mean, yeah, it does have more, but maybe not as much as people might initially think.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess you're right.
And their purpose though too, right? The Archer isn't about to sit here and go toe to toe with a tank. It's an ambush vehicle, right? You
Right.
shoot and you get out.
100%.
It's not meant to take a hit.
Exactly, and that just kind of that's a perfect segue into the next point. So, whereas the Stug was originally designed to be an infantry support weapon, right? It was designed to go along with the infantry. The Archer was basically designed from scratch to be an ambush killer. So, because these were part of the artillery and not the armored corps, like the Stug, the whole idea of how they would be used to defeat tanks would emphasize more so the idea of them being used in the defense, right? They would be used in a situation that was advantageous to them. That was the defense. Because of it had the 17 pounder. It had because it had usually a range advantage over its opponents, at least to a certain extent. And also because it's open topped, and this is one thing. Even though you have a loss of protection to shrapnel, being open topped is a lot easier for having situational awareness, right? It's easier to just pop your head out, use some binoculars, and, listen for things, get an idea of what's going on around you. when you're driving along in a Stug, or just even sitting there in your closed box, it's much harder to get an idea of what's going on. And when you're a tank destroyer, when you're ambushing something, you need to have situational awareness, which your target does not.
Yeah, that's true. Or as your happy little archers driving along, using superior German, cunning. Let's say the tank commander has his head sticking out of the hatch, and then a 75 millimeter AP round just takes it straight off.
Yeah, I don't think the Germans were that good at aiming.
Yeah,
I'm about to say, if you're going to use a round from a main gun to take the head off of a dude, one, you probably shouldn't be in a tank.
And two, you've missed. Like, that's a miss.
Missed.
You fucking missed the tank.
They're aiming at the
TC's
tank.
dead.
They're aiming at the tank, but they hit the commander.
So they're a bad fucking shot.
Yeah, so they missed.
Yeah, but it's still unfortunate that he had his head sticking out and now it's missing.
It's going to be really
Bad
unfortunate
design.
when the archer turns around and busts like 3 holes in the side of the fucking Stug.
It's unfortunate that with the archer, all the driver has to do is just crank it to the right, and it's already ready to go.
Yeah, and also,
but that's gonna take what, like 10 seconds, and by that time the Stug can already have another shot down range.
That's
Are you
10
sure?
seconds is a fucking long time to reload.
Well, I'm saying it's gonna take less than 10 seconds.
Like,
It
so,
might take 10 seconds for the archer to turn around.
so about the archer with the open top, it actually could fire a lot faster because it's just got more room. Like, think of it in a Stug. You're basically sitting down, right?
Yeah.
You're closed in. You're trying to turn around, pick up rounds. And actually, you don't need to worry about that. It's just going through my notes. So the rearward firing capability was an advantage because you didn't have to throw it into reverse or anything like that. It was just shoot and get the fuck out of there, which is what a tank destroyer is supposed to do. It's not supposed to go toe to toe, as we say.
Right.
And basically, their method was you'd be in an ambush position, you see all the enemy tanks, and then basically you try and fire off as many rounds as you can in a short amount of time. Because, even after the first round, there's going to be a little bit of shock and awe of, oh, fuck, we're being engaged.
Especially from a 17-pounder, because that's more likely to penetrate than the first time.
Yeah, so basically they just try and fire off as many rounds as they can, and then the driver just fucking boots it out of there to relocate to a different position. It's not supposed to try and block shells or anything like that. That's the whole point.
True.
Yeah.
Don, do you have anything you'd like to add about the whole doctrine of this? Because I know you're more of an expert on that.
I'm not an expert on anything. No. Moving on.
Fair enough.
Major points.
One thing. Can we talk about that incident you and I were discussing earlier today about how... So, Ezra, you were pointing out how the archers can't really fight offensively, right?
That's what I was not paying attention to you guys doing, trying to find that actual link again.
I think you sent it to me. It should be there.
I did send the promise I'm on a different computer. Hold on.
He's sitting here in his office. He's got 10 different screens in front of him.
No, that's because I sent it to you on my phone. Carry on. I'll find it and we'll move on.
Fair enough.
Well, I had a question about that. Yeah, so as a gun platform, was this really they just stuck a pack gun on top of the turret, or was it like stabilized like it would be more of like a tank turret? So
no, it's a pack mount in an open casement.
Right. Okay. So then, offensively speaking, like after moving, it's going to take a second for that weapon to settle, right?
For sure.
Yes.
You're able to fire
especially with the 17-pounder, because it was notorious for its recoil and oomph, and especially ground disturbance as well. They would kick up a hell of a cloud of just dust and dirt and crap.
Because that barrel's like 13, 14 feet long, and it's a heavy son of a bitch too.
Ooh, 14 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ezra, look at that. 14 feet long.
Oh, I mean...
Nothing says hey, come shoot me, and then a giant cloud of fucking dust and dirt being kicked
I
out.
will say, I prefer the girth of the 105 on the Stug, though.
Jesus. Why'd you have to say it like that?
Yeah.
The hard G.
He's examining it.
I'm giving this serious thought.
So
Are you sure about that?
There are actually also talking about the 17-pounder and its configuration. There is one downside. that I will admit to. There is one downside, and that's the fact that because the gunner is aiming over the engine deck, right? What does an engine produce? Especially from the exhaust? Heat. So there's reports of the heat haze interfering with the gunner's sight, plus also the middle of the barrel was situated over that. So only the middle part of the barrel would heat up quicker than the rest of it, and it would lead to some slight decrease in accuracy.
Yeah, but those things are so accurate that, I mean, a slight decrease, I mean, you're missing by like 2 inches.
Yeah.
You know, like the accuracy issue probably was fairly significant, but I don't think it would cause that big of an issue.
Well, if I'm correct, also, and again, Don or Callum, correct me on this if I'm wrong, but in many cases, if they were just holding down an area, they would shut their engines off, so it wouldn't be as
completely. Yes.
Yeah.
So you're not. It's. I mean, in certain circumstances, yes, you might have that heat shimmer effect, but generally, it wouldn't be a massive issue, especially if they've been waiting there for a while.
The biggest problem is they have to set down their tea.
Also, does anyone know what the Travis for the Stug 3 was? Did you guys have that information up?
It was like 12 degrees each side. No, it's more than that.
Hold on.
Because the Archer's got 11 degrees each side and 7.5 down, 15 up.
Are you sure it's on 44? 44 in total?
The gun depression on an Archer really, it's probably shit, right?
Yeah,
Hold on.
I think it would be.
Okay, what in what circumstance will you be depressing the gun that much?
Yeah, I mean, you've got an engine deck across the front. I mean...
So negative 7.5 to plus 15.
Yeah.
Don, am I reading this correct? It had 22 degrees to the left and 22 degrees to the right in terms of traverse?
11 degrees.
No, 22 total. 11 degrees either side.
total.
I think this website's buggered up the statistic. Yeah, 11 in
The
Yes,
one
11
I'm
I
finding
22
has-
total. 11 left, 11 right.
Yeah, and then 10 up, 10 down.
No, 15 up, 7 down.
Oh shit! Okay, this is wrong then.
Well, Dennis, you
Stug
couldn't
was
sit on a
about
hill
20
with
to
this thing.
25.
You couldn't sit on a hill with this thing.
I don't really think you want to sit on the top of a hill in anything, to be quite honest. That'd be you'd stick out quite a bit.
Not very
That's
smart.
what the Greyhound's for, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. For the Stug, it could be traversed through about 24 degrees and had an elevation arc of negative 10 to plus 20 degrees.
Nice.
So they're pretty comparable.
It's all right.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, not fantastic, but it's not the worst thing for a casemate.
Nothing to write home about, fellas.
Okay. What's the next slide we've got?
I finally found that story we were talking about.
Oh, it's Egypt.
So yeah, I mean, we've got a little bit of an anecdote about the Archer, and to explain perhaps how versatile it actually was. Take it away, Don.
I wish I could post this.
Would it require the refresh of the slides?
No,
refresh the slides, you say?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I actually added my whips. You're gonna have to refresh them anyways.
Oh, I've been waiting for this
hold on,
moment.
let me see. Let me see if I can do this.
Well, we'll have an intermission after this, so yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right.
How do I, Dennis? If I put this in podcast planning, can you do something with it?
What would you like me to do with it? Put it on the
Share
slide?
it with everyone else.
Oh yeah, if you put it on podcast playing, then everyone will see it anyways.
Yeah, but our viewers won't.
Callum, would you be able to just add an image? Actually, I could add an image and just re-record this bit.
Just join the
it's fine.
Discord,
I'll just,
goddammit.
I can do something about it. It's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay,
It's all good.
never mind. The problem is the website I'm trying to copy this citation from is members only, and they have somehow DRM'd their images.
Oh,
What a
God.
bunch
so
of
what-
faggots.
Jesus.
So when I
Take a
saved
snippet.
it,
Take a snippet.
oh, a screenshot
Yeah.
will work. That'll work.
Yeah.
There's just screenshotting the NFT.
Well, you guys are doing that. I was scrolling through Kitmaker and I'm sending a picture like this looks extremely weird. So it's 1/16 scale tank riders for a Sherman, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Where are you sending it to?
look at to podcast planning. Look at this close up. That is a very strange sculpt.
What do you mean?
What?
It doesn't look too
What
bad.
is happening with
that?
that
Oh, his
hand?
hand! What the
Oh,
fuck?
the
Hey,
hand.
battle damage.
No, not even just his
Oh, damn
hand. Like, is that his stomach? Is that his giant cock or what?
Didn't even realize.
That's called the GI gut. They used to put a shit ton of hand grenades in their boss.
Oh,
I hope that's what's happening.
Wait, isn't that isn't that the 16th Sherman from Andy's hobby headquarters?
yeah.
I hope those aren't the
It's
figures
nice.
for it.
No, those figures are aftermarket from Jeff Chinese last name.
Those helmets are all fucked up too.
Xing Luan Lao.
Those helmets are huge.
Okay, so Don, would you like to regale us with this amazing story?
So I finally managed to share that image. So picture yourself, March 1945, happily kicking Nazis out of Holland, and
Yay.
you are a.
Wait, boo! Boo!
Thank you. I will just read the citation because it's actually pretty kick-ass.
Do it.
Nice.
On the morning of the 30th of March, 1945, at Emmerich, Sergeant Darrow Gomez, 3rd Anti-Tank Regiment, RCA, was the NCO in charge of a 17-pounder self-propelled Valentine gun, Archer, which was part of a troop of 105th Canadian Anti-Tank Battery in support of the Royal Winnipeg Rifles. The enemy had determinedly counterattacked the position during the previous night, and with daylight, Cam acknowledged that self-propelled guns had been brought up to support these attacks. The enemy guns had assumed a most aggressive role and were rapidly rendering untenable the area occupied by a company of the Royal Winnipeg Rifles. Since they were deployed on high ground and at short range, any movement on the part of our infantry was extremely hazardous. This is the medal citation I'm reading, by the way. At approximately 1100 hours, Sergeant Gomez pinpointed the location of one enemy gun after performing a reconnaissance under intense rifle and machine gun fire. Sergeant Gomez then maneuvered his 17-pounder Valentine into a favorable position and succeeded in knocking out the enemy SPG. Not content with this one success, he immediately commenced another reconnaissance with the commander of D Company Royal Winnipeg Rifles. After considerable time, they located the position of another enemy SPG, which was pinning down an entire company of our infantry. Notwithstanding the fact that the infantry company commander was killed at his side and the driver of his own vehicle had become severely wounded, Sergeant Gomez fearlessly commenced to advance his gun to a suitable position. Although his own gun was twice hit by enemy shell fire, this NCO attained his objective and, laying the gun himself, destroyed the enemy self-propelled gun with one round.
Goddamn.
Shortly after this incident, a strong enemy fighting patrol attacked the position occupied by Sergeant Gomez. Although his gun was clearly exposed to this party of enemy and at very short range, i.e. grenade range, he unhesitatingly manned the machine gun mounted on his vehicle, brought fire to bear on the infantry. One of the enemy patrol was consequently killed, 7 taken prisoner, and the remainder forced to retire. Throughout these actions, Sergeant Gomez displayed magnificent leadership and absolute disregard for his own personal safety. There is no doubt the example that he set enabled our infantry, despite heavy casualties, to hold this vital area in the face of spirited enemy counterattacks. For this action, he was awarded the Distinguished Conduct Medal, which is roughly analogous to an American Silver Star.
That's it? That's all he got?
That's it? What the fuck?
Yeah, but the Brits are like, first of all, he was an NCO, and the Brits don't give medals to NCOs. And they're already parsimonious with gallantry medals to begin with.
Bro, NCOs win wars.
We tell that to the British.
Retweet. I will.
That's a
Or,
pretty
I mean, the
kick-ass
Canadians
story.
in this case, but, you know.
Next time I train with the Canadians, I'll tell them.
Don't even get me started on Victoria Crosses that should have been awarded in Afghanistan. That can be a whole other podcast.
We can make a
one.
podcast.
Yeah, we'll have to get you back on.
Yeah.
This time, maybe not even at knife point.
We'll see.
Just don't.
Yeah, so there you go. So the open-topped grenade-prone death trap that all of you here are to shit on today smoked 2 enemy SPGs in urban combat and took an entire infantry section prisoner.
Dude,
Okay,
that's some hard
that's
dick
pretty
shit.
cool.
I bet they were
They
Stugs.
probably-
No,
I bet you they were Stugs.
they were probably Stug 4s. Stug 3s would never.
Stug 3s would never.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do any Stug 3s have a 30 cal mounted to the roof?
I mean, they have an
Or-
MG42.
Yeah, I was just gonna. No, they have an MG.
Not all of them do.
34, yeah.
34.
Oh,
And
that's all we got.
let's be serious. The Canadians were known for pilfering 50 cals from the Americans and mounting them on
I
anything they
guarantee you,
could.
as being,
So
I guarantee
Well, as
an
well they
archer
should. Jesus.
I
Honestly.
guarantee you that an archer had a 50 cal welded to the top.
Oh, I'm gonna make that one day when I get an archer.
No, do a dual mount. A
Dual
50
mount.
cal.
Yeah.
Mount.
You gotta
30
do
and a
one
50.
on each side. Like,
Oh.
facing
Americans
forwards
had
and
a surplus
backwards.
of 50s, and Canadians had a surplus of Scotch.
Exactly.
It's an even trade if you ask me.
Eye for an eye.
So, in terms of the post-war service, like the Stug, interestingly, this also had a little bit of service in the Middle East. So, post-war, a lot of these went to Egypt. The Egyptian army received 200 British archers. This was after the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, and some were actually used,
silly Egyptians getting destroyed
and
by
some
the
were
Israelis.
successfully used against Israeli armor in 1956. Keyword on the successfully. And then as well,
Isn't that picture of an archer a destroyed one?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that one destroyed?
It
Yeah,
looks
like one of the
again.
only ones ever destroyed.
it looks fine to me.
Yeah, it looks.
Yes.
It just looks dug in. I will say another
A little
It's
too
not
far dug in.
destroyed.
another
It's
positive
simply
thing for the
position.
open top. There's another positive for the open top. You're in fucking the middle of the desert. You're not in a
Yeah.
sweat box. You got nice fresh air coming through. You know.
Not really. Hope they pack their sunscreen.
Well, you just
Yeah.
put up, well, then all you do is just put up a tarp over the top. You know, you don't. But you know, you get that fresh air.
That's
I
a
was about to
question.
say,
umbrella.
if it rains, if it's too hot, just get like some logs and a tarp, and you're good to go, man.
That's
Yeah.
a question I had. Why did they put like a grenade screen or something over the top of it?
Kovacs?
They actually built an armored top towards the end of the war.
Sure,
but,
Really?
Yeah.
but we won, so they stopped.
Because they did
Fair play.
they did the same with the M36 Jackson. That
Exactly.
that started
And the
open top, and then they put a
Yeah, they're like a little metal sheet on top.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's because they
they're-
kept getting
They're very
sniped.
similar looking.
Yeah,
So they
that's 'cause
decided
kept
the
getting
Germans
sniped
were
by
right.
Germans. No, they kept getting sniped by German snipers. That's why. 'cause
Oh,
they kept throwing them into like urban areas.
Ex-Stug commanders just taking out archer gunners.
Ezra, did you not just hear about the example we just heard? An archer which has to fire backwards rolled up on two of your Stugs in an urban area and smoked them. What are
you're
you
never
talking
gonna hear
about?
the end of this.
It
Don't
said
worry,
get
don't
clapped,
worry.
bitch.
Like, imagine
Don't
how
worry,
awful this
those
they
were
had to literally
probably-
spin around to engage them.
No, those were probably Stug 4s, and they can all go.
Cope and seethe, Ezra. Cope and
A
seethe.
grass strength.
They hit him with the 360 no scope.
They said wrong
Dennis,
hood, bitch.
Dennis, there is no grass for me to touch. I live in the middle of a desert.
He lives in
For
a
good
wasteland.
reason.
Yeah. So some of these were used successfully in 1956 against the Israeli armor. They also served with the BAOR until the 1950s. And I believe a few of them went to Jordan as well.
I think we also kept a few kicking around in reserve
Yeah,
for training crap.
one with that. I think they would probably be retired by the 50s.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, and so just kind of like in conclusion,
What?
you know,
What happened to your slide? Oh no, it's me. Never mind.
Yeah.
Moving on.
the archer was incredibly lethal. So unlike a Stug, which is loud, it's blind, it's unaware. The archers
You're
can strike-
unaware.
Yeah.
The archers can strike first with a far deadlier armament, and they could leave their firing positions and reposition to somewhere else at a high speed. None of which the Stugs could do. The archer is highly unconventional, which has often led to them being the subject of ridicule, but their unorthodox design is precisely why they were such a fantastic tank destroyer. And if the Stug was so good, why did the Allies win the war? Answer me that, Ezra.
Incompetence in the German High Command.
Yeah,
See,
this is a
if
whole other
I was
Let's
leading
not
them-
start. Ezra, no. This is a whole other podcast.
Let's just say I would have made some changes around there.
God. Yes. So now for everyone.
Ezra, how many times have you played Hearts of Iron?
Never. I play Halo.
Never.
So, yes, maybe there are fewer models of the Archer. However, Ezra, what was the latest Stug model released by Tamiya in 35th scale? I want to say it was, 2009?
If even. But look, we've already discussed this in a previous episode that Tamiya sucks and is,
Whoa. Hey, hold your horses there, bud. Don't speak for all of us.
Yeah, and hang on, we haven't got fucking Harry Houdini on yet.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Tamiya did not mean that.
I side with you.
He's
So
sorry.
we
Yes,
got
Tamiya
this
sucks.
model from Tamiya in 2017. It is an extremely nice model, and it even has Canadian crew with netting molded onto their helmets. So, yeah, the Stug boys can cope and seat with that.
Now you want to wear a helmet in your tank.
How much is the Archer?
I think I got it for like $50 Canadian at Wheels and Wings.
Nice.
Jesus, that kit goes for about 110 over here.
Oh, wow.
What?
Because it's so
Jesus.
What does it build itself?
most likely.
God damn.
110, mate.
Dennis, if I'm
there's a
not
reason
wrong-
why I've stopped buying from fucking hobby stores and now just gone, yeah, I'm just going to go to the local fucking auction sites because it's just... Jesus.
Dennis,
Yeah, that's wild.
72.
They jumped the price on us,
72.
those bastards.
Yeah.
God.
Dennis was probably just saying... Dennis was probably thinking of his fucking employee discounted price he gets to pay.
Yeah,
He
Probably.
just forgets everyone else
yeah.
has to pay full price.
Yeah, because I got an
Asshole.
employee discount at the competition, definitely.
Those
Actually,
you
a
can tell
discount for
those
all hobby stores.
you can tell those molded helmet nets are a big deal because that I don't know if you remember, Dennis. That was one of the first ever conversations we had.
Oh yeah, how to get the nets?
Yeah.
I will say I've built that kit. It is a dream, and it's beautiful. It's got great Canadian markings.
Send us a picture.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
haven't
Wait.
seen it. I haven't,
If I'm
seen, it. I haven't seen it.
It was early in my days of modeling.
Yeah, that's the one you covered
get
in
it again.
snow, right?
Yes.
Oh, I
It did
love
actually
it.
look pretty sweet.
An archer in the snow sounds painful.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I just pulled up your build on Kitmaker. Yeah, this looks beautiful.
Oh Christ. And then if you want a build
Drop
that's
the
a bit more
link.
complex, there's the Bronco models Archer. Now that one's Don, correct me if I'm wrong. That shares a lot of parts of the mini art. Valentine.
Probably. I stay away from Bronco.
Yeah, I know that Mead on Kitmaker built this.
Yes, and it came out looking fabulous.
It
but-
did. One of his best builds, definitely.
Yes, I mean, you've got kind of your mid-level of detail, your amazing detail, and then there's also I could find one resin conversion for it.
God, is that the accurate armor kit?
I think so, yeah.
It looks like their box.
Yeah.
Yeah. You better be prepared to drop some coin and fight.
But yeah, that is the Archer.
I just want to say, Dennis, when I saw your build of the Archer, this was back when I thought you were like a legitimately serious modeler.
I was a legit model.
Ouch.
I had to drop that.
Where'd you send it?
Well, it's a podcast planning.
Go take a
The
gander.
the map on there is a bit snowy, hard to read.
That's actually really nice looking.
Thank you, Greg. Someone here likes me.
Hey, I said it looks great. I just thought you were serious back then. I didn't know
Ezra
you
was
were...
sucking up to you back then.
Oh,
I
he
was. You have no idea.
God, the Valentine suspension is so weird looking to me.
It looks
yeah,
cool.
it's so
I like
it-
it.
Two little
It's
ones.
very gappy. It needs
It's
something.
odd looking.
It
yeah,
needs something.
yeah.
It's weight distribution, gentlemen. Weight distribution.
So, Dennis, why don't we have a quick intermission
That'd be
and
lovely.
Yeah.
then do works in progress and something at the end?
Wait. Greg has to make a decision.
I do.
Oh,
Oh yeah, Greg, come on.
Oh,
forgot about
heavens.
Greg.
Okay. Oh, that hurt, Callum.
We love you, Greg. I love you.
Oh, I love you
But
too, Dennis.
Team Stug
I
loves
love
you
you
even
more.
more.
Greg, you
Yeah.
know the amount of love I show you on all my edits.
You do. Oh yeah, you
I'm
do.
not gonna beg for it.
Sounds a little
I am.
biased.
I'm gonna make
Below
But
me.
Greg, I've never called you a furry.
Yes, you have.
Calaman.
You're the first one to.
You were the original.
Ezra, you're the one who is currently drawing.
Ezra's made the drawing.
Oh, but that was out of love. That was the same kind of love that I
That's
use
what
in
you call
making
love?
He loves
That's called
furries.
abuse.
Ezra loves furries.
Ezra does love furries. I think he's trying to secretly tell us.
Oh, I'm not in the closet while I'm recording this. Just saying.
Yeah, you're
So
fully out.
anything's
We're
fair
aware.
game. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay then, Greg. So, what's your pick?
It's going to be
All right, gentlemen.
Just remember what country you're moving to soon.
He's moving to Germany. He's moving to Germany. Just
Oh, okay. So I will say both vehicles, just look-wise, they both look awesome. They both have their own aesthetic. I personally really love Finnish Stugs. I think they look awesome. Their camo patterns are sweet. The Finnish foliage on it just looks great, right?
Calm
However-
yourself, Ezra.
Yeah, I said that because, however, the Archer, if I were to go into combat and I had to choose between one of those two vehicles, I would go with the Archer.
yes.
you coward.
Let's go.
You want to die.
And
Winner.
on that amazing note, we will take a short intermission.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have returned. Yes. All right. Works in progress. Let's go.
Oh, bet. Okay.
All right. This is my first slide. I've only got two. But basically,
Only two?
Yeah, only two this week. I know, crazy. Right?
Wow, surprising.
I know.
It's a first.
So this is the first slide is kind of showing off the Greyhound again. After I let the oil wash set for like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks now. Still need to do mud and some pigments, but it's like 90% done. And then the my Cherbourg diorama, kind of where it was sitting before we started the podcast. Got the brickwork, the roof tiles, the window shutters, all sorts of fun stuff done. And during the podcast, I've added an oil wash to everything. So,
I got a question for you because it's a brilliant looking kit. How are you getting that like on the turret there on the metal on the top? It almost looks like it's textured. Is that like a dry something? Like it almost looks like there's dirt on it, like actual physical dirt on it.
oh, you're talking about like the discoloration or the
Yeah. It looks like there's like I swear it looks like there's texture.
Is it
So,
pigments?
no
Is that the
pigments.
word? No pigments.
But it's an
And a lot
oil
of the
wash
better-
as well as so I went in with
Go
Tamiya
ahead.
panel liner and kind of hit all like
I was say a lot of
the
a
high
lot of the
points.
better kits. I don't know.
and
what
then I
kind of
went
qualities
in
of
with
this
an
kit
oil
because I
wash
haven't made it yet,
afterwards. It kind
but
of
a lot
lazed
of
everything,
them,
and that really
especially like
brings
the really
out
thick stuff that can
smaller
have like
details.
cast
Yeah, it
texture,
looks
and so
very cool.
they
Thank
can
you.
physically be textured if the
All that
manufacturer would
stowage.
go through the process. Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
some of them have really, really vibrant stuff, and some are like just flat.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you'll see with my works in progress that one. You'll see with my whip that one.
Oh yeah. That brickwork is gonna look immaculate as soon as you put a filter on there.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll send a picture. Oh no, I did send a picture in the whips chat right after I
Oh, did
applied
you?
the. Yeah, I still need to put like some pigments and some dirt on it and whatnot. But yeah, the oil wash definitely helped dull it down.
Hey, nice. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you, fellas.
What else have you got?
Dennis is. One more slide over. Oh shit! Hang on. I'm sorry. I'm looking at it on my screen. Okay, so this is the part 2, the figures and the plaque. So the top are all the figures I've done. Still need to do a little bit of pigment work, some mud, and a little bit of oil staining for the crewman.
Nice.
Then there's the plaque and those small pictures under the plaque. One of them's a map of the peninsula I'm going to put on the Greyhound. The rest are pictures that are going to be hung up in frames on the interior of the house. Below that's a French flag I'm going to do on the outside, some propaganda posters, the Hell on Wheels jacket. I love that thing. And then on the left-hand side, you got the start of the tree, my MMP mug, some road signs, and a bunch of bricks and weapons I still need to finish.
Good luck with the tree. That's going to be tedious.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm saving it for last.
Hey, what's the plan with the plaque?
So basically, it's gonna where you got the picture on the left of the troops running, and then the peninsula map on the right. I'm gonna cut that out, glue it on the wood, and then just glue it onto the base. Just kind of my usual.
Just glue it on?
Yeah, I'll put it on wood first. I'll paint some white balsa wood, and then I'll glue that on.
Yeah, that'll look pretty clean.
Thank you.
So this is what I've done. So I just wanted to add in the pink primer because that's all I had was a rattle can of Tamiya pink primer. So I thought, wow, it's a panther, it's a Yag panther, so it's the pink Yag panther. And then, yeah, I think it looks great. I feel like I should have left it pink.
You should have left it pink
really
and posted on Facebook and Kitmaker and piss everyone off.
I have the photos. I can still do that.
Do it,
Look.
please do it.
I've got a
Kitmaker people are fairly good sports. They
Oh,
would
shut
probably
up.
I
laugh
don't want
with
to like
you,
hijack this.
but
but,
Facebook people would crucify you. I've learned from experience.
I don't want to be hijacking this, but I've got a quick story about pink stuff. You guys want to hear?
Oh.
Go for it.
So you guys
yeah.
know the Pink Panther, the SAS Land Rover?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've got a female coworker of mine at work. She does most of our social media. Never built a tank yet before, right? So I said, well, hey, you like stuff that's kind of like pink, right? Build the Pink Panther, because that was pink in real life. So she does an amazing job of it. The first guy who walks in says, oh, they never made those in pink.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
I had to pull up. I had to pull up the actual photos of them in Jordan.
Bro, it's like the guy who was like, there were never tiger tanks in Normandy on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like a
Ugh,
simple
that's-
Google search.
Yeah. You know what, Dennis?
Yeah.
You know what you should tell her to paint next, to build next? The Spitfires used for reconnaissance that were painted pink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pink Spitfire.
Pink everything, man.
Yeah, just the pink collection.
Yep. So anyway, back onto my whip. So the color scheme that I'm going for this is the same one that's at Bovington. I'm kind of using those as a reference. So I'm aiming for a sort of latest war Yag Panther that's just come out of the factory, and they're basically just trying to. It's all in the primer, and they're just trying to add on some sort of color for camouflage, but. It's basically mostly going to be primer straight from the factory, sort of thing.
Oh God, Callum, don't! You're going to get some weirdo yelling at you now.
I can't wait. That's why I'm doing it.
It wasn't primer. They painted over everything. The red brown just happens to be a shade that looks almost like the primer.
Oh,
This is
fuck
true.
those
This is
people.
true.
I just want to say, bring it on, bitch. To all those.
Callum,
and-
I'm going to write you an entire paragraph.
Did you
I don't know,
airbrush that paint on? Did you airbrush the camo pattern?
No.
Was that
No,
so
he's
the
a
other unique
wizard.
thing is this. My airbrush is... We have an argument and a disagreement right now, and it doesn't want to work, so this is all being brush painted.
Oh,
The
wow.
Which I haven't done
lines
in a
are
while.
brush painted?
That's
Everything.
brilliant.
How
It's
did
all
you get
brush.
those?
So...
He's a witch.
So I painted the whole thing in the red, and then drew out with a pencil the lines that I wanted. And then I actually did the white lines first, just painting the lines themselves, and then filled in with the bastardization of a Dunkelgelb. That way I could kind of just try to refine refine lines and stuff like that. But yeah, I literally just did that whole thing today.
I
Yeah, it
love
looks
that
really
camo so much.
Yeah, it looks
Fucking
really
cool.
good, dude. Especially for being
Yeah.
brush painted.
Yeah, I've got a technique down and it works. So, I mean,
You-
for
what kind
John,
of,
I take it. Are you brush painting?
So I haven't done a single bit of painting, but I did buy an airbrush. So I have brushes. I bought a set of brushes and I bought an airbrush kit.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
nice.
Luxury.
Yeah, luxury.
he's in
Yeah.
it to win it,
Yeah.
buddy. Hell yeah.
But so I'll just tell everyone my method on the brush painting, because the hardest thing, especially with big side slabs like that, is to not have brush strokes or anything. So what I do is so primer on, then a very diluted first coat of the color. Second coat is thicker. That's where you gain your opacity. Then the third is a very thinned out coat again, which kind of helps just smooth the surface down, and that alone gets rid of brush strokes real quick. So
Jesus.
yeah,
And what the witch isn't telling us is that he's painting with Tamiya, the unpaintable paint.
Oh,
well, actually, the brown and the
I know
white
the difference
Atamia,
like
the
first
red
look
is my good old roof paint.
Still.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
That's
wow, yeah.
That's impressive.
roofing paint. Yeah, so it's durable as fuck. But yeah, so that's my whip.
Two goats and a virgin.
Oh no, which religion is that?
All of them.
All right, anyways.
That's our new one. New religion disrupt.
Dennis, could you reload
Yeah.
the slides for me, please?
No.
Oh
No,
God,
no,
no!
no.
Please don't! Please don't!
Wait, Dennis, are mine reloaded for
I'm
my
trying to
original?
add-
Okay.
Look, I'm trying
You
to
win this
add
one.
another whip slide, okay?
I don't want to see another.
No.
No.
It's detailed pictures of my STRV 103C.
Sure, it is.
Yeah,
We're keeping it Swift too.
It's
Yeah.
no thick
Okay.
anime waifus this time.
Oh, hey!
Ooh,
Those are mine.
another greyhound! Look at that!
Another greyhound.
Wow.
Look at those headphones.
But a greyhound that's not a greyhound. So this is my my nemesis. Actually, no, this isn't my nemesis kit right now. That's the fucking ambulance. So I'm looking into that today. But one of my ongoing long-term projects here. This greyhound is not a greyhound. It's getting remodded as a command car used by General Rockingham as the Canadian brigade commander during the Korean War. And as you can see, it's got no gun.
That's a
Which was a-
disadvantage.
It was a
You
disadvantage.
knew
So
to
when you're
a greyhound.
when you're a general rolling around, hopefully you're not engaging in combat. So my biggest headache was modding the turret shape, because the modifications that were done to this original vehicle, I should have sent a picture of, were all field expedient by armorers and engineers in the field. So basically they ripped the gun out, welded some plate over the mantlet opening, and had to craft an entire new hatch cover assembly, for lack of a better term, for the top of the turret. And then inside on the left, where the 37mm stowage would have been, they've ripped it out, and that's going to be a map desk work area, for lack of a better term. And on the right side is a very poorly made, but you can't really see it, so it doesn't matter, number 19 set in place of whatever the American radio that would have come with it was. But the reason this is taking so long is because I went out and bought the Aber photo etch set, and we're not friends. So
No,
it's taking some time.
Dawn.
This is different.
Oh, go ahead.
This is different than the M20 variant, right? Of the
Correct.
This is the M20
So
command car vehicle.
The M20 command utility car, whatever you want to call it, just
Yeah.
had the skate ring with the 50 cal mount. This is a one-off. Was done as a field expedient because a general pointed to it and said, "I want that to be my ride."
What was that general's name? I really want to see
General John Rockingham.
Rockingham.
He's
Rocky
rocking
Rockingham.
that
New whip.
greyhound.
But the reason for it was sound is because he was well known both during the Second World War and the Korean War for being right up front with the troops, and wanting to get stuck in. Like, there's a great picture of him helping change a spare tire. Which, when was the last time you saw a general officer change, their socks, let alone a spare tire, without a whole crew of enlisted people to, do it for them, right? So,
Fair point.
Good on him,
That
man.
is cool looking, dude.
So,
this
Don, are you going to make the make it to where you can take the top off and see the actual interior, or are you just going to take
I
pictures
don't
before you glue it?
know. I don't know how committed I am to building out the rest of the interior. The other side of it is there are no photos of the interior of the original vehicle.
Okay.
Like, there's only 4 images on the entire internet that I can find of this thing, and 2 of them are so low resolution that if it wasn't for a caption, you wouldn't know what you were looking at anyway. So they're all exterior shots. So even the setup of the interior where the 37 ammo should be, I'm only guessing that that's there because the descriptions that I have say there was a desk, but it doesn't say where it was.
Well, I mean, you're using logic here, and that's a logical spot to put it.
Yeah, well,
Right,
I figure
exactly.
if you're taking a gun out, why are you keeping the ammo racks? It's not like you could even put the gun back into this thing if you wanted to use it again. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. We'll see how much more photo etch I feel like losing to my carpet monster, and we'll go from there.
So one more question:
Go for it.
when they removed the gun, did they fix the turret? So like the turret basket. So did they remove that extra bit of machinery to make room for those desks and things? Like would that make do you have any description of that?
No idea. So my plan, the way the model builds out, you can build the turret basket as a separate component.
Okay.
So I'm gonna build it up. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna see how much space it actually occupies, and would it still have been practical? Because the other question is, if you take the turret basket out, you take the seats out, and if you take the seats out, you can't see out the top. But there are very clearly pictures of people poking out patches on this thing.
Yeah.
So then it's a matter of, did they weld in some sort of other weird seating arrangement on the side? No one knows.
Interesting.
So this is very much not so much a what if, but a guesstimation of what it actually could have been.
Very cool.
So we'll see.
This is the Tamiya kit, right?
This is the Tamiya. It's the same one you built.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Which is a phenomenal kit.
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely build another one. It was that good.
All right.
This thing seems like our new mobile recording studio.
Jack's gonna go out and buy a fucking Greyhound.
All right. Next, their controller, and now for something completely different. Because for those of you who don't know me, everything I build, with few exceptions, is Canadian, and this is very clearly not. This is the Hasegawa 172, which I also don't build Braille scale, Japanese fuel truck. And this kit was originally pressed in 1974.
Ooh.
And I got my first one, and I'm pretty sure it was a Reeboks in, 30 some odd years ago. This was the very first kit I ever built. Not this one, obviously, but the same kit. First kit I ever built. My dad randomly brought this kit home one day for whatever reason. Was like, here you go, you're going to learn how to build models. And it
Indoctrination.
Exactly. And it was entirely fingerprints and tube glue, and has been lost to the sands of time for eons. So I decided to pick it up again. And this one is going to be in the colors of the Imperial Japanese Navy, actually. Or at least that's what the internet tells me this color scheme is.
A group that famously did nothing wrong. Ever.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Nothing, absolutely nothing wrong ever.
This kit is anything but good. But it's actually not bad for what it is, for the age of the kit. The fit was remarkably good. The detail was non-existent, but the fit's been remarkably good. And I don't know, it's painting up pretty good. So I got all the base colors down, and I'm going to start doing some a little more work on the canvas top of the roof. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do for markings because the kit doesn't come with decals. So, yeah.
Well, very good.
And that's it. And that's all I've done in the last 3 months since we've spoken. Because I've been in a bit of a slump.
Hey, we all get there, man.
Honestly.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of the Japanese Navy.
So yeah,
Jesus.
I've been trying to be a little bit busier.
Dennis Senpai.
Oh boy.
Somebody
Giving
clip
me Oki
that, please.
flashbacks.
I'm about to give Craig like PTSD from Oki.
Oh god.
So yeah, when we last spoke, I was just beginning this little build here. I have since finished it. Very nice kit. First aircraft in a long time. I'm actually pretty happy with how it came out. Yeah,
Very nice, dude.
I don't even know what to say.
Looks very
Yeah, it's nice.
I like it. I chose the scheme because it means I can be edgy and show it off at the hobby store, and no one can tell me otherwise. And then, kind of leading on that theme, so I have this Hasegawa F2A, which is the commonly known as the Viper Zero, in 48 scale, so the same scale as the original A6M3. And I decided to build that up. I had it for over a year in the stash. Finally got the paints for it. Tried out things like pre-shading and all that. I had these aftermarket decals from Taiwan, and I was always planning on mounting it on a base, like as if we were in flight. But then I realized, like in a sheer stroke of coincidence, I had finished this one. Again, it's a Zero built by Mitsubishi. This is also a Zero built by Mitsubishi in the same scale. So I thought, you know what? I'll put it on a base together. Kind of like the evolution of it.
That looks really
And,
good.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that. You've also got your
Oh yeah, I took a little ride out to Wheels and Wings. But yeah, that's been what I've been working on.
Lovely.
Continuing with the Japanese appreciation.
Extremely lovely.
That's cool.
Okay,
Who's out
Dennis, please reload the slides. I need people to see my streaking. Okay.
Join the Discord
Next
if you want to
week.
see us streaming.
Yeah, join the Discord.
This is my trumpeter. Trumpeter 135th scale STRV 103C.
Oh, it's trumpeter.
Yes, I built it
Nice.
maybe last year. I painted it and I started weathering, but I fucked the weathering up. There was too much dust. I hated it. I shoved it in a closet for a year, and then I recently remembered I had it. Took it out, gave it an oil wash. I was like, "Oh, this looks really good," but I thought just the way it was sitting wasn't very interesting. So I literally cut up the suspension and posed it like this.
Oh
Because
god,
it's an S tank. Why not? And
it's
I think I did.
stanced.
I think I did a pretty good job. Like none of the wheels are floating, so a judge most likely won't get me for that.
Jacob, hit the brakes.
I added a muzzle brake cover, as you can see, based off of photos, and a bunch of random straps. There's 2 yellow masking tape strips in the back, which are off of references as well. It's fun. I'm enjoying being able to cover the bottom in mud, because you're gonna see the bottom plate. So
Yeah, the pictures you
Definitely.
sent on Discord of the undercarriage, dude, that looks phenomenal.
thank you. And I did that thick mud buildup literally by getting sand from outside and mixing it with just like a random sand colored acrylic I had and just smeared it on. And then once it dries, it's rock hard. So then I'll go over that with. I don't get a break. Okay. And then after it was dry, I went over it with oils and enamels to get that nice dry mud color, which still's going to get reworked a little bit. I'm
Nice.
probably going to leave it dry, just because it contrasts nicely with the green. Actually, I have it behind. There we go.
Well, there we go. There it is.
Yes. and I'm thinking
The
about
wedge.
adding a. It is a wedge.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of copying Greg and adding an MMP bumper sticker to one of the Stoa-Dracs.
Yeah.
Do it.
Why not? Might be fun.
Yeah, we need to get on to Dennis about making a whole bunch of those for us, eh?
Oh yeah.
I've got
Give me
a,
that cash. Give me those them dollar bills, boy, and I'll send you hundreds.
I'm holding
Oh,
one right
Dennis.
now. It
Dennis, did you see that
seemed to
message
go
I
in
sent
the
you?
Altus.
Hold on. Oh wow, you sent me a whole bunch of stuff. Oh yes.
This
Oh,
bit,
okay.
this bit we edited out, so don't worry about it. But yeah,
I'm
we'll do that.
concerned.
We'll do that at the end. We won't tell the others.
What's going on?
Nothing.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
It's fine.
Don't worry about
It's
it.
fine.
We worry.
Mom?
Concerned.
Okay, who's next?
It's a good
Why
question.
next? Oh, Dennis?
Dennis?
Had
Oh,
an
yeah.
aneurysm there.
we
Oh,
go.
here we go.
Oh, the turtle.
The little Skoda.
So we've got the turtle. This I built like a month ago. During one of our past whips, I had it up. And the whole time I've been looking at it, and I've been wondering how the fuck I'm gonna tackle that camo, because I don't know if you saw the Czech version, but the camo was crazy. It was too intimidating for me. But luckily, TACOM came in clutch, provided the German communication antennas and German decals, and I just decided to go with the German gray because, well, why not? And
So you
TACOM
picked
always
the-
coming in clutch.
oh
You
yeah,
picked the by far superior color scheme.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Ah, nah,
It's
the
better
Czech
for
one had a
weathering.
bit of flair to it.
the Czech one,
Yeah,
the
but
Czech one's
Panzer
nice, but this is
Gray
good for
is-
weathering.
Yeah, that's true. Panzer Gray is a beautiful color.
It is a
Dunkelgelb.
beautiful color.
Yeah,
The
the only
38
problem is,
looks really good, Panzer Gray.
yeah, the only problem is if you post something in Panzer Grey on Facebook or whatever, you're going to start a bloody argument about what shade of fucking grey Panzer Grey is.
Oh,
See,
dude, that's
I
so
didn't-
true.
It always happens.
I
'Cause they
just
always go,
used.
yeah, because they always go, oh no,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more blue than that. No, it's more green than that.
Panzer,
And in reality, it
Panzer Gray
actually
is not blue.
no. But some
not
some
blue, no.
factories did come out that color, and all it is Panzer Grey is purely whatever grey color they had in that factory. There
Yeah,
is no
exactly.
standard on
Yeah.
Panzer Grey. So when people get arguments of no, Panzer Grey is this or that, it's like no, it's whatever you want it to be, because that's what they painted it. It was whatever they're sitting there in the factory going, fuck, what have we got? What have we got? That will do.
I'm pretty sure this is in Tamiya Dark Sea Gray that I use for my turpets, and then I also did a few panels in, like I brushed on some Vallejo Gray just to add some variety. Yeah, and then
Yeah, it looks really
Uh,
nice.
went to town on some pigments. Got the streaking on the what's that engine cover up there?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. And it's the one headlight you can't see, but I fucked up with the just cutting the headlight out, and I cut like a bit of the headlight off. And again, TACOM coming in clutch with the headlight cover. So I just threw that on there. You can kind of see
Oh,
it in the
beautiful.
bottom left picture there. Yeah. But I think it turned out pretty well. This kit is a neat kit. It comes with one molded body, all the rivets beautiful. Just one molded body, and then the suspension and everything underneath is all symmetrical. So you build one side, then you build the other side, and then you just stick the top on. So it's a pretty simple kit, but it's really
that's
high-
good.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
much did this one run from TACOM?
How much did it cost?
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like 50 or 60. I don't know. My family bought it for me for Christmas.
Well, shit, there you go.
Yeah. It was a bargain. But I looked on Dennis. I looked on Great Hobbies just because I was curious and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, that's something we might not have. We don't have all of TACOM's kits, unfortunately.
You have a lot of them though.
We do have a lot, yes.
I kind of want to try their Object 279. It's
Yeah,
in
The one that has like
72nd.
4 tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the 271. That's that funky.
That's
is that
the
one with
UFO
4
looking
tracks?
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
the nuclear protected one.
So,
Yeah.
what an insane fucking tank design,
Isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, I think about a couple months ago, I actually found on Reddit a video. Someone had got one of them has one running on the 4 tracks.
Wait, actually?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
It was weird. I posted it to the Sexy Armor chat, and no one commented on it. It's like it's a 279 with that runs.
I never saw it.
Yeah, I'll need to find. I'm
Poor
sure I've
guy.
got it saved somewhere. I'll post it again. It looks sick.
Yeah, that's
Resend.
crazy.
Resend.
But yeah, with this thing, I also painted each individual rivet. That was painful. That took me
Jesus.
two or 3 days.
Took you longer than it took to rivet the damn thing.
Yeah, it took me longer than it took to build it.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Jack's out here fucking dedicated.
They only made like what 20 some of these.
Well, it looks good. Tell you what, it looks good.
Honestly,
Yeah, thank you.
I'd ride in it.
just like the Stugs.
Yeah, are there any of these surviving still in the wild? Are
Oh,
there any in a
probably
museum?
not. I think they
Probably
only
in some militia country in Africa.
yeah, like
I think
20,
less,
30.
right? Okay,
But one's going to
20,
turn up
30.
in Ukraine for sure.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the big Z on it too.
Yeah. No, that insignia on the front, essentially a Z.
I mean,
That's
it's
true.
better
What is that?
painted.
I'm not
It's
even
20
sure.
versus
What it is.
Panzer, is that?
I'd have to go check the decal sheet. I'm not sure. I forget.
That is awesome, Jack.
Yeah,
Very good,
I'll send it. I'll bring it over to the hobby store,
Please do. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
to the shrine.
The trap, as it were. Well, I guess that brings us to a segment of this podcast. Since we have John here, he's been so kind to come on and join us. I thought, why don't we just have a little chat with him about, with the Panzer Podcast, the show that he runs, what he's been doing and what he's been getting up to lately, and So, who's got some questions for John?
Well, I'll start it. What made you start it? What made you start the Panzer Podcast?
Well, that's a good question. The easy answer, like the funny answer is all of my friends don't want to hear me talk about tanks anymore, and I just need an outlet to talk about tanks to somebody. So I figured if I just put it out there to the ether, somebody would, maybe some people want to hear it, and it turns out some people do want to hear it, which is nice. That was always fun. When I started the podcast, I thought, okay, I'm gonna do the Panther. And if there's like 2 people listening by the time I'm done, I'll put it on the shelf and be like, there we go. I tried it and I did it. Fine. But there's actually, the feedback's been pretty good. There's a bunch of listeners. However, what I might consider the real answer for why I started it, I was trying to find a podcast that talked about the Panther tank because I wanted just to hear somebody ramble on about the armor thickness, the production numbers, and the combat experience. And because when I searched and searched and searched, I really couldn't come up with anything. I thought, okay, somebody has to fill this hole. And so I decided to fill the Panther-shaped hole in the podcast world.
Did you go over the Panther G?
I did. So I went through. So
Wow.
I started. Yeah. So I did all of the different Ausführungs, actually, including the F model, the one that really didn't ever exist. I skipped the Jagged Panther because I kind of want to do like a separate like tank destroyer series, and I was just kind of getting long in the tooth talking about the same Panther stuff. But yeah, I did the prototypes, the Panther D, the A, the G, and the F, as well as like they had an artillery observation vehicle planned and a command variant as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Well, Dennis
So,
and Ezra
now that
know
you-
I've got an unbuilt G right behind me.
You
Yeah.
do.
The
So
G's a
the-
cool. The G's a cool Panther. You know, it's almost like they finally figured out all the things that they wanted to do with that tank at the very end when it really didn't matter anymore.
when it was just a little bit too late.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh man, look at all this cool shit we can add to it. It's like the war's over.
Like,
Yeah, it's like-
well, shit.
I've got a 1 to
Don't worry,
35
we can-
Shanghai Dragon Panther G with the night fighting like thermals and whatnot.
oh god, that's fucking cool.
Oh yeah. Do you know if they ever did they put Zimmermitt on the G, right?
You know what? I think by the time the G was coming out, now I guess it depends. It depends on the factory, and it's going to depend on the hull. Because if the hull of the G, if you have like an early model A hull for the G, probably yes, it's going to have Zimmerman on it.
Okay.
But if it's a very late war G hull, probably not at all.
God damn it.
But honestly, the other thing is some of the factories, they just kept applying it. Anytime the Waffenamt or any of not the Waffenamt, of course I'm going to brain fart on it. Whatever the Panzer arm was, that the Panzers, like whenever they decided to put forth, like, okay, we're only using these colors. Like the Germans, they were so nitpicky about certain things. They had put out orders like the lower half of the inside of the tank is going to be brown. The upper half of the inside of the tank will be white. And then like 2 months later, they were like, no, just go back to white. And a lot of the factories, they would get these orders and they'd look at it and go, well, fuck that. I'm just going to paint this tank the same way we've been painting it. And so same with the Zimmermet. If they were still doing it, the factories would just do it until they ran out of the paste or they ran out of people who knew how to put it on. So it really just depended.
So
yeah, exactly.
So if I did a late war Panther with the Zimmerman and the infrared shit, it'd be fine.
Yeah, you'd be fine. And if there was any way for you to make it look like the Zimmerman was like falling off, that would be even better.
Oh,
like if
I
there
can
were
do
bits
that.
of it that weren't, if there were bits of it that were like worn off or falling off, that would be even better.
Fucking say less.
That's cool.
Well, if
So question about
if it's
Zimmerman.
late war, you can kind of just do whatever the fuck you want. Late war German.
Yeah, especially with the Panthers, and I mean, you know, with the German war industry the way it was, they would recover as many broke down and destroyed vehicles as they could, and they kind of had a first in, first out kind of thing. So some of these factories would get broken up early model Panthers, and they would just put a new fucking turret on it and turn around and put it out there on the front. So you might see like a late war German, like a G model turret on an early Panther D with like the letterbox machine gun. And you're going to get into crazy arguments. If you found a picture of that with like with the G turret with the chin on it, and you see a letterbox machine gun, everyone will tell you that never existed, but like it's very plausible. And like I can guarantee you it did exist, because anything the Germans had that still worked, they fucking put it right back out on the front line.
They couldn't
Yeah,
be
just-
nitpicky at this point.
No,
So
not at all.
question to you about Zimmerit. So I've heard, and this might be just a myth, but I heard that one of the reasons why it was taken
Germany.
off after a while was because it could start a fire if it was hit.
Jesus.
Is there any credibility to that?
So yeah, I think the paste itself, I think they used gasoline to mix it. It was kind of like,
Oh, come on!
no, because they wanted to like thin it out. You know what I mean? Like I think it was like kerosene or whatever. But
Fine, we'll add gasoline.
it could catch on fire, but generally speaking, like it was usually on parts of the tank that if it caught on fire, it was probably not going to spread. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, I don't
it's
know
on
that
the
it was so
outside of the tank.
flammable. And it
Yeah.
usually wasn't like on the engine deck. It was usually on the fronts and the sides of the tank. And honestly, the Zimmermet, the Germans were so paranoid that they were going to get hit with magnetic mines. They were the only fuckers using magnetic mines, them and the Japanese. It's not like the Russians were running around with magnetic mines. So the thing they were worried about is some shit that they were using.
It just looks so good.
It's just projectionism then. They're just projecting those
Yeah.
insecurities.
Yeah.
So you know a shit ton about Panthers. Question: where do you find all your info from? Like, you know, because for us, we've got to try and week to week find more info about new stuff, which is
So
fun. Where do you find all your info?
let's see here. Let me see if I can do one of these. Is that going to work?
Whoa.
Okay.
There's
This
the
bookshelf
stash.
here is top. There's two. The very bottom is just full of Panzer books.
A TIE fighter.
Yeah, I also do some Lego collecting, but a lot of my knowledge. I have books, and in fact, the one I was using for the Sturmgeschütz, I was using this guy.
Ooh.
Ezra just
So-
finished.
Excuse me while I go clean up.
So I do a lot of I do a lot of reading, and honestly, I mean, some of it as basic as it sounds, man. It might start on Wikipedia, and you're reading like a whatever article, and it's like whatever, however many degrees from Hitler you can be. And so after 4 clicks, all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, why am I on the German tanks section again? And you're looking there and you're like, where'd that quote come from? And you find the little button, the little 2, and it drags you to the bottom. And now I'm looking at the references, and from those references, maybe there's a book. And if I can't find that book online, I will go search bookstores and what have you. And sometimes I find PDF copies of these books, but then once you dig into one book, all of a sudden that book talks about another book. Well, now I got to have that fucking book because I want to know where that little bit of information came from. So I guess a lot of my information comes from all over. There's a lot of internet searching. Tankencyclopedia.com. I'm sure you guys.
Oh yeah, we know that one.
Encyclopedia.
They're very good. And in fact, I've bought a couple books from some of their contributors. They author a couple books about I think I got a book on the T-34 by Peter so and so. But yeah, a lot of it. I mean, books, man. I've been such a freaking book nerd my whole life. That's the big one for me.
If it wasn't for Tank Encyclopedia, I don't think I could have made my late M51 variant. Like that helped me so much.
Yeah, and I love the camo schemes. They have a pretty good collection of the different different squadrons and battalion and stuff kind of color schemes on there. It's nice.
I have a personal question to ask you.
Sure.
What do you think about the M26 Pershing?
Oh god.
You know what? What is that book called?
Spearhead?
Yes, that's the one. Yes, Spearhead. I read that a couple years ago. Loved it. And it made me kind of rethink the Pershing as a whole. And then I actually, just a month ago, I actually got to go see one in person, which was awesome. Yeah, at the Musée de Blondet, the museum in Saumur in France.
Okay, never mind.
Whoa.
They've got one. Yeah, I would say any of those pictures I've been sending over recently to the podcast are me and Saumur.
MMA
So I got to go
field
to
trip.
France. Dude, it was honestly, that tank museum was fucking fantastic. If you are ever in central western France, do go and see that. Go and see that museum. But no, the Pershing's badass. I mean, they took a 90mm gun, which if I think as I'm getting ready to do the Sherman series next on my podcast, I've been doing a lot of reading about the just kind of the development of the medium tank for the Americans, and I think. If the war had been shifted 2 more years to the right, like let's say the war didn't start till 43 or something like that, I think the Americans would have come to the conclusion that the 90mm should have been put onto something like the Sherman. So the fact that they finally got that 90mm cannon going on the Pershing, and the armor, the armor on that was good, but I think, especially we learned post-war, armor really doesn't mean shit. It's is your cannon good enough to hit the target first time? And if you hit, you're going to penetrate. And that 90mm tank or that 90mm cannon really kind of figured out how to do that properly. Like that 90mm was punching through anything the Germans had.
Right.
And you said you read Spearhead, so you got to hear Clarence's experience doing that test range out there in Germany with the general, right?
Yes.
Yes. That was good.
Yeah. Yes, very, very informative, and the action, dude. The action in that book is so crazy when they throw that smoke round or the HE round into the ground to put up the smoke screen against the Panther. I thought that was just epic. Like that's the kind of nitty gritty tale. I'm just like, I want to see how fucking terrifying was it to be in a tank.
Spearhead will definitely put you there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like the Pershing.
No, it's a great tank. I think it's a great tank. I think just too little, too late kind of thing. The war ended, the Germans packed it in.
Okay, well, here's a question that's very, very obscure. But you know how most tanks during the Second World War had hull-mounted machine guns?
Yes.
And how they would be subsequently deleted later on. Do you think, in basically kind of the research you've done, would you say that having the hull-mounted machine gun with the radio operator was an advantage? Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Is it a good thing that they are no longer on vehicles, especially things like IFVs? Do you think that they should make return?
Honestly, to me, the whole machine gunner, especially having the radio operator down in front like that, you've got another set of eyes. Just like we were talking today with the Archer versus the Stug, being open topped, yes, it has its, what maybe obvious disadvantages. Oh my God, we're going to get hit from above. But if you're able to just put your peepers up there and look around more, again, you see the target first, you shoot the target first, you're probably walking away from that fight. So having an extra set of eyes as the hull gunner, that's definitely going to make you feel a little bit better. You've got another guy scanning the horizon looking for enemies. So I think for the time for World War II, absolutely, I think it's necessary. And I think having the whole machine gunner kind of gives you, I don't know how effective that whole machine gunner really was as far as like being offensive, but having an extra set of eyes is always a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for
Yeah, I
the
was gonna say,
modern
optics
times,
have advanced so
you know,
far
you
that,
have another
the
crew
commander
member,
can do a 360,
which means you got to
with
move things
thermals.
around,
They
especially
don't
like
really
the
need the one
Abrams.
guy
The
looking
driver
straight
is
forward.
sitting center line and he's lying down and everything. And I think with modern optics, I don't know how much you really gain by having another set of eyes. But again, yeah. So I think in modern times, maybe on like an IFV, I don't see why that'd be a problem because an IFV is already kind of lightly armed anyway. Having another guy with a machine gun, that probably helps.
Oh, dude, you got to fucking.
But yeah, I think the way modern armor has kind of evolved, I think it's kind of redundant to have just an extra guy. That's you've got an extra. I don't want to say liability because it's a human life, but you know what I mean. It's like now you got another guy you got to worry about getting killed.
No, it's a liability. Go ahead and pull him out in full kit. That's no thanks.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So I got a good question about your podcast. So you've finished off talking about the Panther, right?
Yes, for the time being.
So what's next?
We are getting ready. In fact, I'm still. If my voice sounds funny, I'm still recovering from COVID. But 2 weeks ago, I was basically finalizing the first episode of the next series, which is going to be about the Sherman.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and I'm starting my podcast. I feel like I ramble on. Like I pull on a little piece of thread. I'm barely at the Great War right now in the Sherman podcast. So, if that tells you how far back I'm going into medium tank development in the United States. I'm going to talk about basically the original shitty M1919 Christie tank and move my way towards the Sherman.
I can't.
So we'll
wait
get
to
there
hear
eventually. It. Yeah, honestly, it's probably going to be all of this year and probably all of next year will just be the Sherman series because I'm gonna do the original M4 and I'm gonna end it up and probably we're gonna talk about the M51 and beyond.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to flesh it all out. Because there's so much to talk about. There's so many. If you say the Sherman tank,
is that like
you all have a
like
picture of what you
board?
think the Sherman tank is in your head.
Or
But there's
how does that
fucking
work?
50 different versions of the Sherman tank.
Damn straight.
Like there's even one in Peru that had a 60 millimeter hyper velocity, not a high velocity, a hyper velocity.
Oh god.
Yeah,
looks awesome. No, it's not even that. It was a gun that was made by a single company. Which is why they got rid of them quickly, because as a military, you don't want to be bogged down to one company supplying stuff. But they converted their Shermans to have this 60mm hyper-velocity cannon. They look sick.
Yeah, it looks almost like a space age. It looks like a Command and Conquer gun. It's got this funny little muzzle brake thing in the middle, or not muzzle brake, the gas recuperator. It's a cool, and that's something I want to talk about. People were. I think the Sherman as a gun platform is probably one of the more successful of all time. From 1940 all the way up to basically now, people are still using the goddamn thing.
If you had to estimate how many episodes, I know this is kind of a rough thing to estimate, but if you had to estimate how many episodes of the Sherman you're going to be doing, how many would you think?
I'm going to say at least 30.
Whoa. Fuck yeah.
Wow.
And they're going to be at least an hour long each?
I will say, you know what? Knowing myself, because when I write these episodes, I write about 50 or 60 pages worth of words.
Oh,
like
Jesus.
I'm writing a research paper every 2 weeks. Essentially, is what I'm doing.
Brother is dedicated.
But it's most. I mean, like it's when I say research paper, it doesn't read like that because it's just me talking to myself. So it's kind of like I'm writing out kind of dialogue for a character that's played by me. So it just sounds like me rambling. So the grammar and the syntax is all fucked up because of the way I talk. But so it's 50 to 60 pages, and that's if I'm paying attention. You know, they're at least 10,000 words, sometimes more. But I will say this, because I do, I write, then I rewrite. You know, I do a couple rewrites, a couple passes, then I record, and the recording, because I'm stopping and re-recording. You know, I kind of like the live format that you guys do
all the
here.
stuff shit that
Not
we
that you
say.
guys don't do editing, because obviously you have to do editing.
You don't know the half of it.
Yeah, for anyone out there who thinks podcasting is necessarily easy, it's not just like we're not raw dogging this audio. Someone has to go back and clean up a whole bunch of shit.
Ezra raw
for every-
dogs.
Well, actually, our first 2 episodes have no editing in them.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's and yeah.
and I know that,
and that can get rough.
Uh,
It can get rough.
yeah, like in the first episode, I know at some point there is like a 20-second block of silence.
Oh yeah, it was rough.
The first episode was brutal.
Yeah, mind you, that first episode, that was what? Me, Dennis, Ezra, Val.
Val was there too.
No,
yeah.
Val wasn't on. I don't
Oh,
think
no,
Val
it
was
was
on.
Val was
Jack.
on the second.
Yeah.
Val was on the second, wasn't he?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
barring...
it was just the 4 of us.
Yeah, it was the 4 of us. And that was like the first time I had actually like spoken to you guys.
Yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah, same here.
Instead of being
Well,
over text, it was like first time we'd actually like talked to each other. And it was like, oh yeah, so hit record and we're just gonna fucking jump into this.
I mean,
and I did I would say I have a lot of recording equipment because I was in I don't want to say fairly successful band, but I've been doing music too my whole life, so I have a lot of recording experience.
Hey, nice.
So in my mind, if I do an hour, if my recording is an hour long, it's going to take me times 2 to edit, basically.
It's fair
You know
enough.
what I mean? It's minimum. So if I record an hour long episode, that means I've got 2 to 3 hours of editing to do. So each of my episodes, I would like them to be 45 minutes long because that seems more reasonable to do in a weekend. But yeah, the episodes will be at least an hour long because I'm an idiot. 'Cause I don't know how to keep myself paced right.
Well, that's just fine by me.
Yeah.
It'll give me something to listen to on my way to Kansas.
And
You guys are too kind.
as you can tell, we're kind of the same.
Yeah, and as a listener, as a podcast listener, I love long episodes because I'm the same way. I'm plugging away at work or I'm driving. I commute. I live in Long Beach and I work in LA. So it's an hour-long commute every day to work and then an hour home.
Jesus.
So that's 2 episodes of a podcast for me. And then while I'm at work all day, I've usually got a podcast or 2 in my ear.
Well, that's
Brother, how
one
are you
MMP
affording
episode.
gas?
I drive a Toyota Corolla.
Fair enough.
Hey, Dennis, he's just like one stop away from a Prius.
Well, it's basically got the
Dennis
same
is
That's my next
edging.
car, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
got the
kidding.
same powertrain, so it's like basically a prize. Like, don't worry about it. We'll give you a tow missile launcher, make you on the team.
oh, you don't know about our tow missile launcher Prius.
Our tank destroyer for Ukraine idea.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
It makes sense.
A hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Think about it,
Look
dude.
at
No. It's funny, but think about it. It's silent. It's deadly with a tow. It has a low profile. You can
range.
Yeah, you can put the toe in the trunk and you wouldn't
Yeah,
suspect
and
it.
after
It's like
you do that,
it's like
you
the
can just,
jihad,
like,
right?
Fucking
You
turn
wear your
away
helmet close,
and
no one
they're not
suspects
gonna
you.
slash some random ass Prius. I mean,
Can you imagine imagine a
That's a
T90
Greg.
getting fucking clapped from a silent under 20
Yeah,
mile
they
an
are
hour Prius?
killing
I would cry of just laughter. Oh my god.
yeah.
I don't know.
Have you
Russian.
seen-
Wait, no,
have you seen the Russian
Kovacs
War?
has put an AP. Yeah, we need to put an active protection system on the Prius. We need to put the trophy system on it.
Yes.
My God.
Lift that thing.
Oh yeah, lifted with the with air suspension, so we can lower it down and go
Air
pull
su-
down. Oh yeah. Oh
No. Do what like the SEALs do and rip off one of the doors
Or
and mount
the bars
a
they have on
saw.
the Humvees.
Fuck your
Rip
saw.
off
Get a
doors.
G3 on that bitch.
Yeah, okay.
Mark 19.
Oh god.
Oh
Just-
god.
Take all the doors off and put Jeep webbing in there.
There you go.
Oh
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It'll
Roll
be
cage.
like in that it'll be like in that horrible Red Dawn remake where they had the minigun strapped to the Mustang.
Just take the windscreen off.
I hate
You
that
don't need
scene
it.
so much.
Hey Dennis,
It
I've got
maddens me.
If you, listen,
I've got
if you
some
can't go
Ulta
above
stores
20,
you can
then you don't
borrow.
really need a windscreen.
Awesome, thank you. I will say they put a Vulcan on a price and it worked. So I mean,
Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
it just destroyed the windscreen every time it fired.
don't worry about it. Weight reductions. Don't worry about it. It's faster now.
Yeah.
What's a windscreen? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So do we have any more questions for John about the Panzer podcast?
We love you, John. We're your base fans.
Yes.
You know what? I was so excited when you guys reached out to me. I was still in France when whoever hit me up on Instagram. I was like, "What are these?" I was like, "This guy's serious." He actually wants. I was like, "All right, let me check out the show to make sure you guys aren't just like Nazi sympathizers."
Oh,
I was like,
oh,
because
that
at
was
first I
horrible.
was like, all right, cool. These guys are interested in my podcast. I'm like, let me just have a listen. I was like, okay, this is brilliant. This is like, well, there's your problem, but about tanks and modeling.
That's our goal.
That's what we
Yeah.
That was when I heard that. Go ahead.
I was going to say,
Oh,
which
we're not
episode
Nazis.
did you start
Just-
on? Well, Ezra is, but
Ignore the Fourth Reich jokes. It's fine.
They're not
those-
jokes.
okay, those-
They're not jokes.
no, that's in the end credits now. That's not a joke anymore.
Oh,
it's,
God.
it's actionable now. Hold on, because you guys sent me which ones to listen to, and I will tell you right away which ones I started.
Oh, I think
Please tell me it wasn't
was
the
me.
MGM 51. Please tell me that wasn't
no,
the first
it
one.
was it was the Ram. I think it was the Ram or Tortoise.
Oh yeah, those two.
It was
are
the
good.
tortoise. It was the tortoise.
Oh, yeah.
That was the
Okay.
tortoise. Yes, the tortoise. Because when you guys were talking about that, I thought that is fantastic. This is and just the way you guys talked about it and the way you went back and forth, it was very, very good. I was instantly hooked, and honestly, since then, I think I've listened to the majority of your podcast. Whenever I get an alert that says you guys are putting one out, I'm
Oh
listening.
God.
Have you listened to the
My
Corsair podcast?
condolences.
No, I have not listened to the Corsair podcast. Not yet.
There is a Ezra's Reich joke and
Oh,
also
God.
a Michael Jackson joke that is quite.
Oh, that,
There is a
Giggly.
Michael Jackson joke here.
that Michael Jackson joke is the best thing I've ever heard. It was beautiful.
And then there was and if you haven't listened to it, the MGM 51, the Shillelagh one, where we basically broke Greg, and it's it's about 90% dick jokes. About anything we're talking about, there's a dick joke.
The
I
last
was
half of that
literally
episode
crying.
was amazing.
What?
I was
What was the
actually
other-
crying tears of just happiness and laughter. It was laughing so hard. It was great.
Honestly, I think
my
that was
God.
when our podcast kind of clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when
What
we
was the
finally got it
episode where
together.
What was the episode where I threw up?
You mean the one where you drank fucking Tamiya Extra Thin?
Don't
Oh,
listen
was
to
a-
that one.
I think that was
Don't
a different
listen to
episode. Because that was the one. That was the first time we talked that nuking Japan was good.
Oh, dear.
Joke of
Oh yes, where Dennis claimed it's not a war crime.
yeah.
Wait a minute. You guys hit that topic. You guys aren't getting hate mail.
I
Not yet.
Hate mail time?
I mean, we
For
try.
some reason, no.
We try. It's just, you know.
It's like when you're
trying
going to
piss
bed at
people
night.
off.
Yeah, it's like when you go to bed at night and you're trying to go to sleep, but it just doesn't happen. That's kind of where the problem we're running into. We're trying to get
Yeah,
hated on. It's just not happening.
We've
Yeah.
said so many offensive things and no one has
Hey,
jumped
hey,
on us.
hey.
I mean, yeah.
Well, the problem is everyone's agreeing
Any
with you.
interaction is good interaction.
I mean, if we,
Oh God, he's right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you took our out of context quotes and chucked them on Twitter, we'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
fucking cancelled in a day.
Oh, 100%.
absolutely.
Oh, I should do that. I've got access to our Twitter.
No, no, Dennis, no.
Dennis,
do it,
do
do
it,
it.
do it,
Do it.
do it.
Every time
Yeah,
someone
do it.
gets cancelled, they get more publicity.
Yeah, no, our Twitter feed is just one quote, just every the whole Twitter feed is just an
I'm doing that.
individual quote at a
I'm doing
time.
Oh,
Do it.
I gotta look at our quotes now.
I love how the
It's
first
okay.
one, the first quote I think out of all of them was, "For legal reasons, I'm not a terrorist." Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's okay. My first spat on Twitter. I called a professor from the UK, basically a Nazi, on accident. And I didn't realize. So a fan of mine, he sent me an article on Twitter, and I was like, oh, I've read this article, and it was about the Battle of Kursk, and I was like, this fucking guy. He's basically claiming the Germans didn't lose that many tanks. I'm like, you got to be careful when you read some of these people because they're a little funny, right? Like, I didn't call him a Nazi. I didn't actually say that, but I was like, some of these people are a little fanatical with how good the German armor was.
And it's Twitter. They just read through the lines.
Yeah, no. Well, then the fucking professor contacted me, and he's like, "What are you talking?" He fucking got on my case. I was like, "Oh my god, dude!" And I was like, "Well, now I feel like a dickhead."
Nah, bro.
I had to
Tell him to cope and breathe.
Well, yeah, he did. He ended up sending me the other 2 articles that were paywalled. He's like, "See, I defended them properly." I'm like, "Well, I only read the one article that was free, guy. And the one article you wrote kind of sounds like you're thinking the Nazis were that bad." And then he sent me the other 2 articles. I mean, he's a nice guy, but I just felt like I was like, oh my god, he fucking read my tweet. Like, I just called this guy a Nazi. Like, fuck.
You know what you should have done? If he sent the other 2, you should have just said, this is just a ploy to not pay.
God.
Yeah. Checkmate. I got you, buddy.
Checkmate.
You just lost
Pay
revenue.
all your fucking articles now. Yeah, exactly. You just lost $10, you fuck.
Do you
Have you seen the MMP OnlyFans?
Oh god! I'm gonna send that.
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid I haven't.
You gotta let the dogs
My
out.
girlfriend saw that.
I'm finding the
Yeah,
picture
Happened
right
in the
now.
feed when she
Finding
was
the
over
picture.
here, and she's like, "What the fuck is this?" She was so
The
concerned.
man likes our humor, Kovacs. Okay.
Which is rare.
Who wouldn't want to see the dogs?
The dogs.
Dogs.
I sent one to podcast
my
planning
God.
earlier.
Was she excited?
Oh god.
Was she quite happy with how that turned out?
Okay. John,
Kovacs'
look in,
girlfriend's on my feet.
I posted
look in
the object
podcast
2.
planning.
I
Oh
Yes,
my
you posted
god.
The object.
posted the object 279.
Oh,
You can
shit.
thank me for that. You can thank me for that beautiful image.
You
Dear
suck,
Lord.
Ezra.
Solo content. Fetish friendly.
Okay,
Fetish friendly. I love that.
Okay, Cal, should we do the thing?
Yeah, let's do the thing.
Alright.
We should probably end it
Alright.
and do the thing.
All right, we gotta kill this episode with fire. So, we've decided that instead of just like scrambling the day of to figure out what the topic we're gonna do,
Like normal.
at the end of each episode, we're gonna have a little spinner here, like a little, wheel of choice, as it were.
The Wheel of
And we've
Fortune.
got all sorts of topics here. I'm gonna spin the wheel, and we will know what episode we're gonna be doing next week.
Share it on the screen.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
crap!
Yeah, you
So we
silly
can all
goose.
see.
No, I
Yeah,
can't
come on.
do that.
Yeah, we want to see our real.
Yeah.
Also, Callum, that's incredible.
I had it up on
What?
my phone.
What?
Bear with me for one
That's
second.
that 279. That's insane.
Oh, it looks
So
awesome,
cool, I
eh?
know.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
do
the
we
fact
get
it's
to look
pink.
at your search history, Dennis?
There we go.
Hold on, I'm
Yes,
gonna pause
no,
so people
yes,
don't see her login.
Just pause it while you put the login details in.
Yeah, that's what I'm done. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't.
Ooh.
We're paused right now, right?
No.
Yeah, the recording's paused. I don't care if you guys see it.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, we already have
Screen
access to all
record.
this.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh.
And here we are.
Okay.
God damn.
KV1 and KV2.
We all see it?
That
Oh,
is a
fuck me,
lot
they
of
got it
stuff.
rolling.
All right,
Well,
shall we? Drum roll, please.
this is why
Yeah,
I
sure.
asked all you guys, what do you want to do? Like, what subjects you want? Because then I just added it to this.
Good.
Right, Dennis, spin it.
Donna, 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 Donna.
Hey!
Hey!
Wow.
Yo!
There we go.
The game?
I'll Sturmovik. No, not
Game,
the
that is a
game.
great game.
That's
Well, there
fun.
you go. So, I guess to close out the episode, next week we will be talking about the IL-2 Sturmovik. I want to send a huge thank you to Kovacs, Don, and of course John from the Panzer Podcast so much. I appreciate you guys coming on. It was great having you. I will make sure to link the Panzer Podcast in our description. Make sure that if you've come this far, that you go give him a listen.
Yeah.
Learn about some Panthers.
Where can they find you,
Oh,
John?
yeah.
So you can find me. Let's see. Oh my God, I feel like an asshole now. On any of your podcast things, my RSS feed, it posts basically to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of that. You can find me on Instagram at the Panzer Podcast, and also on Twitter at the Panzer Pod.
Hell,
So thank you
yeah.
guys. I just want to say, hey, thank you guys so much for having me on today. This was honestly, this is such a pleasure. I had a good time, and thanks for getting me addicted to or hooked up on this new hobby of mine that I'm desperately going to be spending money on. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We are looking
You guys
forward
are-
to seeing that progress.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I will keep you guys updated. Don't you
Post
worry.
them all in
Don't you worry.
whips.
Yeah, I will. I'll let you guys see it as I fumble through, and I'm sure I'll have questions for you guys. So
Perfect.
thanks again for having me tonight. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah,
on that
thank you.
note, if you've come this far, you've been listening to the Micro Machines podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us, and we will come back to you next week with the IL-2 Sterovic. Alrighty. Bye,
All
everyone.
right. Bye.
All right.
See you,
guys.
fellas.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.